Welcome back yet again. This will be a reaction stream for FPL. We've had so much chaos already in Double Gameweek 24. The quickest goal in Premier League history, inside 10 seconds from Everton, a 4-0 win, and a great start for assistant managers, or those that use the assistant manager chip. And the same goes for the triple captaincy on Mohamed Salah. So different ways of playing the game and different rewards to be had. So one of my main conundrums going into this week was going for Arne Slot or David Moyes, and so far David Moyes is winning on that front, but I had a choice of selling Chris Wood or Cody Gakpo to Ndai, and so far I'm very happy I've kept Chris Wood, and also Matt Sells in goal, although I would have gone to Pickford in that case, and he got an assist and a clean sheet. We'll discuss bonus points very soon, and we should have them added throughout the course of this reaction stream, but overall, not too shabby in the grand scheme of things. I don't know why, by the way. Actually, no, I'm just bugging out, aren't I? Yeah, I'm not even gonna say it now. But it's good to see some of you here already. We did a deadline stream earlier today, of course, and yesterday we discussed all the ins and outs of the doubles and blanks, especially with that announcement of Double Gameweek 25, and that's why I was so insistent on going for Arne Slot. And that 2-0 victory for Liverpool, of course, is a very solid start, and Cody Gakpo won the penalty, but we'll discuss all of that. There's a lot of football. And the rank you see on the left is what I saw on livefpl.net, but there might be a few changes. After that late Mateus Cunha goal, maybe it went down by a few hundred or thousand places, but it's a green arrow of almost 200,000 at the moment, and it could be even more by the end of Double Gameweek 24, especially if Liverpool win that Merseyside derby. So this could be a massive swing in my favour, but hold your horses. Hopefully a lot of you are doing well in FPL too. But let's get straight into it. FPL Kevy with a simple emoji of Chris Wood. He's been my best asset this season. I picked him in Game Week 1, and I haven't made a better decision all year. Just my opinion says, I think swapping Elanga for Rodgers was a bad mistake. I also benched Wood for Ndai. I feel like Mike Tyson just peace-slapped me. They're a bit unfortunate with that, though, and I think with Rodgers, I was really bullish on him against Wolves, and he was a bit unlucky not to return today. But Elanga getting a hat-trick of assists, I mean, that's a player I was wrong about, because I talked about skipping him quite a few weeks ago. His underlying stats just never been impressive. I always preferred going for him than Hudson-Odoi, but I've always been very bullish on Chris Wood and nothing else in that Forest attack. But Gibbs-White, of course, he was the one hauling early on, but the likes of Elanga and Chris Wood ended up usurping him. And those defenders and Sells in goal have been brilliant all season. A few exceptions here and there, that 5-0 loss last week against Bournemouth, and obviously some heavy defeats against Arsenal, Man City, but on the whole, Forest have been brilliant. Cyril says no Wood, but Moyes and Pickford, mixed emotions. But that's what I mean, right? So if I sold Chris Wood and went for David Moyes, it's also pretty much the same thing up until now. So it's not like I've massively gained from that sort of decision. I'm just happy I kept Chris Wood in the end. So yeah, you just can't get it all right, unfortunately, and cover every single player. Road to 100 points incoming. Yeah, that's hopefully going to be the case. Of course, you say 81 points with Haaland, Palmer, and Gvardiol left, not including my 4 double gameweek players. Yeah, you should easily get to that. Maybe even 120 plus, depending on how things go. From 5-0 loss last week to win 7-0 today, it's nuts. Forest performances this season is just incredible. Exactly that. I mean, this season is very, very strange, to say the least. You've got the likes of Bournemouth up there, you know, setting a club record for an unbeaten streak in the Premier League. Nottingham Forest, you know, you could say joint second. They're only behind Arsenal on goal difference, and after last week, you thought, okay, the wheels are coming off now. Heavy defeat, but they've responded big time. Kind of a meh game week so far for me, says Sidindra. Sold Wood to Gakpo early in the week because wanted to use triple captain today. Sold Gakpo to Ndai and used AM on Slot. Yeah, so look, I'm sure some people in the live chat today will be like, oh, look at Mohamed Salah. That was the best thing to do, triple captain him. Now, in my case, I used the chip back in Game Week 2, so it wasn't really a decision for me to make, but I never actually thought that AM on Slot, for example, is so much better than Salah in Game Week 24 only. The reason why I'm so bullish on using that chip in particular is because I think Liverpool will reach the Carabao Cup final, and I'll probably show the slides once again just for those that haven't seen my recent streams. But basically, I think Liverpool will get to that and then double in Game Week 25 as a result alongside Aston Villa. So you've got back-to-back doubles, and I think it's a really powerful way of using the assistant manager chip. So it's not just about this one match so far. It's understandable to kind of feel a bit mixed about it, but I still think it can really pay off in the end. The same goes for those that went for David Moyes, of course, if Everton get a result in that Merseyside derby with the table bonus. Drop from 1.2k to 3.5k. Hope to get inside top 1k by the end of the game week. Still a very good position to be in, but a red arrow is always frustrating, and it's all relative, of course. So glad I stuck with Wood today, but I may regret benching Elanga for Mbeumo. Yeah, Mbeumo was in my top 10 captaincy options for the week, and I still stand by that, to be fair, but it's hard to see him outscoring Elanga with that hat-trick of assists. But as they say, hindsight is a wonderful thing. Yes, and you can also be called a hindsight merchant if you look too much into hindsight, but I completely get that. I think Moyes will outscore Slot. Well, for this week, it's possible. And like I said, if David Moyes gets a draw or a win, he obviously will outscore Arne Slot. But I'd still be slightly careful about that because it's also about Game Week 25 and 26. So I'll probably keep Slot until Game Week 26 here and then move to someone like Arteta, for example. But I'm very confident Slot will outscore Moyes for the next 2 game weeks, and it saves me a transfer. So I'm not saying going for Moyes is the wrong or right thing to do. It's the higher risk, higher reward pick. And obviously, so far, he is outscoring Slot, but it all depends on that Merseyside derby if we're looking specifically at Double Gameweek 24, of course. At least in Dice Scores was so mad on him. Yes, look, he's a 5.5 million forward playing for Everton. I only went for him, 1, to get that Liverpool slot open for Arne Slot, and 2, to fund the AM chip, the assistant manager, in the first place. So, yeah, he was very frustrating. You saw Beto scoring the goals and Everton being 3-0 up, but thankfully he persisted. He was so desperate to score towards the end of the game, and he ended up getting that 4th goal. So very happy with that. Terry says, do you remember when I said AM thinking Asman Wolves manager, as Villa have only won 1 out of 7 games they have had after a Champions League fixture? That's a very good point. And I think a few others also mentioned that Champions League record, or at least how they fare in the Premier League before or after a Champions League game. It definitely has impacted their season. Is Watkins injured or what? The reports indicate that he was injured. I don't think he's ever picked up an injury, or if not, it's very rare for him to get one. I mean, look, as an Arsenal fan, I'm hoping Arsenal sign a quality striker. I think Watkins is Premier League proven, but yeah, we'll wait and see on that front. I'm not sure what happened there, but for Villa to chase a game and make so many substitutions, it's a little bit strange. But in the case of Watkins, I think he was injured. Seems attacking is good right now with a new manager for Everton. Yeah, look, Everton, really good manager bounce with David Moyes, but let's not forget Leicester are terrible. So, you know, you get a massive amount of points for this game. And even if Moyes loses to Liverpool, it's still a very good return. But you might want to sell him in 25 because I don't see too many gains against Palace or United, at least compared to other managers with that doubling game at 25, of course. So, look, Moyes is a good pick. I'm not going to crap on people's options there. And so far, he is winning the debate. But I think it's more complicated when people just say, oh, Moyes is better than Slot, and that's it. Because it's also about game at 25 and 26 and saving transfers potentially. But ultimately, if I went for Moyes as well, I would have sold him in Game Week 25, and in the case of Slot, I probably will in Game Week 26. Yeah, Trent was subbed off with an injury. I don't know too much about it. I haven't seen Arne Slot's comments in the press conference, but I'll try to have a look now during the stream, and then we can talk about this. But yeah, I try to find updates on Trent and even Watkins, but I don't know too much about those injuries just yet. Moyes Army Rise, yeah, fair play. I think those with the triple captain on Salah and also the AM chip on Moyes and Slot have done really well so far in a lot of cases, especially if you kept Chris Wood, for example. Jellyfish Pot says 77 points with Mbeumo, Palmer and Gabriel left, and Trent Gakpo Salah captain, Mikalenko for the Merseyside derby. Yeah, very solid platform, good players left. I think Palmer could go off tomorrow, actually. Well, tomorrow? I might be wrong about that, but he's going to go off. 79 Mbeumo, Palmer, Munoz left to play. Yeah, another good score. Rise says 86 points with Big Moyes, assistant manager. It's just so strange. Who would have thought we're talking about David Moyes in FPL and Arne Slot? It's absolutely crazy. Happy Human says the manager second in my mini league has double Forest defense, and I benched my Forest defender for Greaves. I don't necessarily blame you, but I did discuss this before, and in fact, in my Transfers podcast on Monday, I put 2-2 as my prediction. I thought Southampton could sneak a result, but they got the victory in the end. I did change the ultimate prediction to 3-2 Ipswich, but I wasn't confident of a clean sheet, to be honest. But I get why people went for Greaves. I think if you're comparing him to Timber, for example, I probably would have just chanced it on Greaves because of the nature of the fixture. Robertson did an assist. I started Greaves ahead of him, but he got booked. So that's the good thing about it. So let's actually talk about bonus points very quickly, because I actually need to also check who got them. And it's good to see so many of you here already. Smash the like button, all that good stuff. Also subscribe to the channel, costs nothing and goes a long way to boosting us in the algorithm. And of course, the reception to the latest UCL fantasy videos and with the FPL content has been great. So I do appreciate it, especially the live streams, which have been chaotic to say the least. So let's actually go through the bonus points. I might even, if you want me to go through them on screen as well, let me know. But I've currently got them in a separate tab. So for Bournemouth versus Nottingham Forest. So, wait, Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest, why is it going back to last week? No. We're going to Game Week 24, big man. All right, so Forest against Brighton. Chris Wood with maximum bonus points, unsurprisingly. Gibbs White with 2 and Elanga with 1. So, yeah, in the end, Gibbs White still able to get a very big return there. He got 2 assists, and of course, he scored a goal. So, yeah, Elanga, really good option too. So, Bournemouth versus Liverpool. The bonus points went to Salah with maximum bonus points, Alisson with 2, and he played very well. He kept Liverpool in it at times. And Robertson got a bonus point. Trent was very close to the BPS, but not quite there for the right back, who had a terrible first 20 minutes, by the way. He made a few errors that led to some chances for Bournemouth and also was pretty much getting beat time after time again on that right-hand side. As for Everton, 4, Leicester 0, Beto with 3 bonus points, Tarkovsky with 2, and Ndai with 1. Thank God Pickford isn't getting any. No offense to those that have Pickford, just, we all have to be selfish at times. As for Ipswich 1, Southampton 2, the bonus points go to Aribo, Delap, and also Onochu, who scored the winner in the end. Newcastle 1, Fulham 2, and I actually predicted it the other way around, so I got that wrong. Manice gets 3, Raul Jimenez with 2, and Jacob Murphy with 1. I did suggest to a lot of people to start Jimenez, actually. If you are one of those people, let me know in the live chat. He's a very weird option to kind of guess. You know, when he's got a plum fixture, I know he did score a brace against Ipswich Town very recently, but sometimes, like Southampton at home, he blanks and then he just scores against Arsenal with the only chance Fulham have in the entire game, and then away to Newcastle. Dubravka, well, no, that's complete BS. I mean, he was very unfortunate with the major deflection it took off Jacob Murphy, I believe. Wolves 2, Aston Villa 0. Maybe it was Dan Burn, by the way. I need to double check that. But yeah, Wolves 2, Aston Villa 0, which just happened now. Bellegarde with maximum bonus points, Cunha with 2. 8 Nuri and Totti Gomez sharing 1, it looks like. 8 Nuri has also been fairly decent since a lot of people sold him and he came back from that suspension. So those are the bonus points as things stand. Once they are updated, I'll refresh my page and you can see how that reflects into my team. But I've got currently 85 points with the -4 hit also being taken into account. So a very good score for me. And it's about time I had a decent week. But I was so close to selling Chris Wood instead of Gakpo. I think that would have really been frustrating for me. But yeah, in the end, it's not going too shabby so far. Robinson points on my bench. Thankfully, Semenyo, I don't have to see him hauling first on my bench, as you know that's been the case recently. But he will be in my starting 11 for the next couple of weeks. I am still looking at Rodgers and Watkins if Liverpool and Aston Villa double in Game Week 25. And before I go back to your questions and show you some different screens, which I usually do on this channel, let me go to the kind of slides I prepared from yesterday because it's still going to be relevant. Let me play the video and you can feel free to pause it at any time, of course, but I did cover this in great detail in the deadline stream earlier and also yesterday. So all the double game weeks, blanks, as things stand, all the information is all condensed into this kind of slideshow. So there you go. Of course, the main things to look out for are the Carabao Cup final. So which teams will reach that, and that will impact blank Game Week 29. Those fixtures being brought forward to Game Week 25. Newcastle are the only team that will probably not double in 25. It's very, very unlikely and also quite surprising if they give the Newcastle and Crystal Palace fans so little time in terms of a heads up. So yeah, you really wouldn't expect them to double in Game Week 33 instead. All the boosters and chips are being also described on screen with the best time to use each one. Of course, it's kind of general and it could vary depending on your team situation, your budget and other circumstances. But yeah, I'll probably pause it at some stage or maybe show the assistant manager breakdown for those that are still a bit unsure about how things work. But very shortly, we will see the points being allocated for the managers as well. I think slot has already been Yeah, so yeah, slots points have all been added. Same goes for David Moyes, of course. I think some people went for Iraola already, which maybe has burnt a little bit, but these table bonus are going to be massive. If Moyes can do the business against Liverpool, yeah, I think Moyes owners will be very happy indeed. So, of course, we've got the two doublets from this week. That's all in the past, of course, but these are going to be potential future opportunities. Marco Silva and Postecoglou in Game Week 25 if Spurs reach the Carabao Cup final, and Spurs would have Man United at home and Fulham away, whilst Fulham would have two home fixtures against Nottingham Forest and Tottenham Hotspur, with potential table bonus, of course, against Nottingham Forest. In fact, that's probably going to happen. Now, you could also go for Arteta and Maresca if Arsenal reach the Carabao Cup final, but they need to overturn a 2-0 deficit at St James's Park. But considering their recent form, losing to Fulham in Game Week 24, and also getting battered by Bournemouth recently, there is a chance, but Arsenal need a striker. And until they sign that sort of quality forward, it's just hard for me to really back them to score many goals. But they would face Leicester away and Chelsea at home in Game Week 25 if they obviously reach the final, whilst Chelsea would face Brighton and Arsenal away. So this would be looking ahead to the future. Well, actually, no, this is the last one for Game Week 25. Aston Villa if Liverpool reach the Carabao Cup final. So Aston Villa would face Ipswich Town and Liverpool, both at home in Game Week 25. Of course, ignore the Game Week 24 fixture. That was just played. And despite it being green on the FDR, Aston Villa lost 2-0 in that local derby. So looking ahead to potential Game Week 33/36, and I do think Crystal Palace and Newcastle would likely double in Game Week 33 as things stand. We could see a run like this where you can use the assistant manager chip on Glasner from Game Week 31, where they face Brighton at home, Man City away, and then the double of Bournemouth at home and Newcastle away potentially, whilst Newcastle would have a double of Aston Villa away and Crystal Palace at home. Then looking at other potential assistant manager opportunities, Ange Postecoglou again, and also David Moyes, the legend, of course. And this could be in Game Week 36, but maybe in Game Week 33. We don't know that for sure yet, but if it was to be placed in Game Week 36, you'd have Spurs facing Crystal Palace at home and Liverpool away, whilst David Moyes or Everton have Fulham away and Chelsea away from home. Then you've got Southampton at home, by the way, not too shabby. Then you've got Man United and Bournemouth, where they could face the likes of Wolves at home and Bournemouth away in the case of United, and Bournemouth would have Crystal Palace away and Man United at home. But it all depends on if it goes into Game Week 33 or 36. Then Guardiola and Maresca. I was looking at this one with Pep Guardiola, by the way, because I was quite set on not using the AM chip this week until the breaking news, the kind of shocking update we got yesterday. And I thought Pep facing Southampton away, potentially Aston Villa at home, and then Bournemouth at home looked really enticing. And you could even play the assistant manager on Pep from Game Week 35, actually. But yeah, that's no longer the case. I've activated the chip already on Arne Slot. But Maresca would be an alternative, potentially facing Newcastle away and Everton at home in a possible double Game Week 36 there for Chelsea. And finally, Arne Slot and also Unai Emery in Game Week 36, they could have fixtures like this: Arsenal and Tottenham at home for Liverpool, and then Bournemouth and Man City away for Aston Villa. So yeah, that's pretty much the breakdown, all the news we have at the moment. A lot of this is hypothetical, especially with double Game Week 33 or 36, and of course the blanks, which you saw in the slides earlier for Game Week 29 and 34, will also be very interesting. But let's go back to my FPL team for now. I've actually finally done well for once, and it's been a good week in fantasy, and I'll talk about my UCL fantasy performance very soon in the upcoming videos in a couple of weeks' time. Mohit says Brighton were absolutely atrocious on the left-hand side today. That's why Alanga was such a menace and got a hat-trick of assists. Remember when Chelsea thrashed Brighton early in the season? Yeah, and I think Palmer, of course, was quintessential to that, but also Madueke. That's a really good point, and I honestly didn't expect it with Brighton. I said 1-1, and I was saying maybe Forest win 1-0, but I never ever thought it'd be a battering, let alone 7-0. 83, but I took a painful -8 to get Slot, hoping it pays off over the next double. Yeah, and if you have that Carabao Cup final for Liverpool, back-to-back doubles, I think it will pay off personally. 88 points as John Darren. Terry says start one of Mateta or Ahmad, and Robinson or Aina. Wow, Robinson or Aina is a very close call. Fulham did beat Forest earlier this season. It was 1-0 at the City Ground. I would favour Robinson, actually, because of the assists. He's got 10 for the season, which is ridiculous. As good as Forest are defensively. Very tough game to call, by the way. Ask me in a couple of weeks' time, but right now I'd lean towards Robinson. As for the other one, wow, really good question. I'd favour Mateta, but am I being stupid? Maybe I am. It wouldn't be the first time, but I think, yeah. I know Everton have been amazing recently, and Spurs is actually a good fixture, I think, for Amad Diallo, to be fair. That's a really close call. I think I'd favour Amad Diallo, actually. Yeah. It's just because of how bad Spurs are at the moment. I think Everton could be resolute, churn out a 1-0 win, or just be really rigid. And of course, those with David Moyes and maybe going into Game Week 25 could do well too. But I would recommend going to a double Game Week manager by that stage. Yeah, Slot vs. Moyes showdown, 13th of February. We will be there. Non-FPL wise, so, you know, in terms of the Premier League table, what I want, I'd love a David Moyes and Everton victory, but FPL, from an FPL perspective, of course, it really does favour me if Liverpool get the win. So either way, I'm leaving with something, as Mr. Denzel Washington says. 68 points, yeah, good score. Hopefully you can get to 100 plus. I think that is probably going to be the case depending on which players you've got left. Shavain says 63 points with Gabriel, Ahmad, Trent, Salah captain, Palmer, Vissa and Mbuma left. Yeah, I'd be very confident actually. No Everton is quite surprising, but look, I mean, before the assistant manager, you know, debacle and what we talked about yesterday, I was always quite consistent saying I'd only have 1 or 2 Everton players max, and even then you don't need them, especially for a hit. But I decided to take one, of course, today for Mikalenko. Footy Matters says, went triple captain Salah over Moyes. It's turned out good too. Yeah, look, for Game Week 24, Salah triple captain is always very solid. Also, Game Week 25 could be quite underrated for him, but I'm still very, you know, consistent. I think the AM chip will be really powerful for Game Weeks 24 and 25, especially if you went for slot. With Emery, for example, we saw what happened just now. Aston Villa have been very inconsistent this season. You'd expect them to beat Ipswich Town, but what about Liverpool? I simply can't see them getting a result against the best team in the league right now. So, yeah, that's why I'm very bullish on Arne Slot. And of course, that all depends on them reaching the final. And then Liverpool and Villa would double, as covered just a few minutes ago. So, yeah, there is a lot of questions coming in. Keep them obviously going. I will get to them. Obviously, this is supposed to be a calm stream, but a lot of you are in the chat, and I do appreciate it. So, yeah, I'm going to have to catch up to the recent stuff. Yeah, exactly that, Piet. Obviously, it's good to have an idea of what you want to do and have some plans drafted in, but do not make early transfers. I think that's the worst thing you could do. Imagine if you made early transfers in Game Week 24 and then taking hits to then activate the AM chip on Slot or David Moyes, maybe even triple captaining Salah, stuff like that. So I'd be very careful about early transfers. There's a lot of football is yet to be played in Double Game Week 24, and also we've got cup games, especially in the Carabao. So yeah, no update on Trent's injury as far as I'm aware. I don't think he was serious. If I'm not mistaken, if any Liverpool fans have an opinion on that or any information, then let me know. But yeah, actually, let me do that. I don't want to end the stream prematurely by accident. Let's see if I can get this up. So I'm going to have a quick surf and see if I can find any Trent updates for you. Because like I said, I've tried to find one and I just couldn't find one, to be quite honest with you. Let's see. Nope. Let's see if I can find something on X. Okay, so yeah, we do have an update by Arne Slot. Okay, so this is what Arne Slot said, so I'm quoting him. The situation was that he said to me, you have to take me off, and he sat on the floor and we took him off. He felt something. I can't tell you exactly what and how bad it is, of course, but we are 1 hour after the game, but it's never a good sign if a player is asking for a substitution. This is not a fact, but I'd be surprised if he plays on Thursday, but let's hope he is back with us as soon as possible. Remember, for Double Game Week 24, there's a massive gap between the game that just happened against Bournemouth and the Merseyside derby in a couple of weeks' time. So I think Trent will be available for that, but of course that update isn't very positive. In fact, it's pretty negative, and we'll see if he makes it for the Carabao Cup semi-finals, but based on what he said, it's not looking very likely. Admin says 78 points with Mbuma, Vissa, Palmer and Gabriel to play, plus my free doublers and slot. Good stuff. Very solid platform to say the least, actually. I like that. Mick says 74 so far with Mbeumo, Palmer, Gay left to play, and then Salah, Slot, Gakpo, and Pickford for the double fixture. A lot of high scores going around. I haven't seen anything below 50. If you are one of those people, don't worry. It's just one game week and still a lot of football to be played in 24. Keith says 76 points. Still got triple Everton and Liverpool players to play each other. Decent week so far. Yeah, when you've got, obviously, that clash, they're facing each other, you'd probably expect a bit of a downturn in terms of output, but you could be surprised. Hurstler forgot that you need midfield in a football game and left Hinselwood to handle everything alone. Yeah, the midfield was non-existent for Brighton today. That's a very good point. Triple Captain Salah was the smartest play today so far. Yeah, but I'm going to insist, I still think the AM chip is a very powerful tool. Those that went for Moyes or Slot have still done very well. And it's not just the first game of 24, it's the second one and also the double in 25, which you can also maneuver around. But, of course, those that triple captain Salah can still play the AM chip in 25. But we'll see how it all ends out, of course. Then we can really assess it. Spurs in 16th, says Jellyfish Potter. Who do you support? I'm just wondering, since you're laughing about it. We do have some Spurs fans in the chat. Big up, even though you probably see the Arsenal crest. Don't worry, we can still talk if you want. The only question now is whether to bring in Watkins or Emery. I'll be honest, I'd rather go for Watkins. Part of the reason why I went for Slot is because I looked at Emery and I thought, look, he's a good manager, gets the best out of strikers, but I don't trust Aston Villa, especially defensively. So I look at both Ipswich Town and Liverpool. I don't see a clean sheet. You could argue Ipswich Town is a good opportunity on paper, but I'm not really feeling it. Goals, being scored in both of them, perhaps, but yeah, I think Watkins is the one if he's not injured, and of course there is quite a while left. Watkins left the pitch complaining about groin issues. He could be injured. Yeah, appreciate that update. Mohit says it was Kluivert. Oh, right. Yeah, I think you're right. Sorry about that. Yeah, I completely got it wrong there. Watched a lot of football today. Probably too much football. Sometimes it seems like we've got too many games, if I'm being honest. Save me, I might not get a green arrow again this season. That's not going to be the case. We're saying you will get green arrows. Even if you got 5 reds in a row, which I've had recently, at least 5 out of 6, it's going to swing in roundabouts, you could say. Mikolenko originally was awarded the assist before Tarkovsky. I actually wasn't aware of that. I didn't see it. As in, I didn't see that assist being awarded, so thankfully I didn't get my hopes up. Raul and Robinson on my bench, that is tough. But at least Robinson didn't get bonus points. That's a good thing. Only 4, but that might be better than Colwell for me, for example, so maybe I should have started him. Slot confirmed Trent has a hamstring injury and will miss the semi-final of the Carabao Cup. Yeah, but we still got, 11 days until the Everton match, the Merseyside derby. I still think Trent makes it for that. But he was poor today. He was really, really poor in the first half. Evening just joined. Anything I've missed? So yeah, we covered the Trent injury, of course, the update, and people are talking about it in the live chat. We've also covered the Watkins injury, potentially. The bonus points have also been covered. And for those that missed the stream earlier today and yesterday, I also went through the slides again, or at least I played it, and highlighted the potential doubles later in the season if you want to use the assistant manager chip. Top 70k plus 3k rank, no chips, my strategy working, 7 players still to play this game week. Yeah, look, there's different ways of approaching FPL, which is a great thing about the game this season, especially in the last couple of weeks. I'm still not a massive fan of the assistant manager chip, to be honest, but I'll give it a chance, of course, and maybe if I do well, I'll change my opinion on it. There's still 2 games for us before Everton, so hopefully a few more updates on Trent. Yeah, I'm very confident he will make it for that, but if the injury develops in a poor way, you just never know. I could be looking like a fool in a couple of weeks' time. Native Faith says 96 points with Palmer, Fernandes, Ahmad, and 5 double game weekers left, including Salah triple captain. That is a very good score, and also another example of a different strategy paying off. Thank you, Lee Bishop. You're pushing great content out. Regular Dylan, Mr. Consistent. Yeah, look, I don't want to disappoint people, but probably in the next couple of days I will obviously take a little bit of a break. We do have a big, quite a long turnaround until the next deadline, but I'll try to space out content and still keep things churning. But of course, yeah, in terms of the last few days, they have been hectic with UCL Fantasy and FPL covered. I do appreciate your kind comment though. Those of you that sold Wood last week, think of it like this. Gakpo hoard that week and Wood hoard this week. It cancels each other out. That is true. I just think those that sold Chris Wood this week won't be feeling the same way, but that is a really good point. Gakpo blanked the might not start against Everton. No, he won the penalty, so he didn't blank, but I feel quite happy about selling him to get Arne Slot and also getting Dye. it's actually working very well for me so far because my alternative was selling Chris Wood. I wasn't going to sell Isak this week. He obviously was very disappointing. I'm still looking potentially at taking a hit next week, but keeping Arne slot and going for Watkins and Rodgers if Liverpool and Villa double in 25. Live FPL counts AM points? Yes, they do. It's a very good website. Can't believe I sold Wood. Look, I think it's an understandable decision. I was so close to doing it myself. If I decided to go for David Moyes, I would have sold Chris Wood to Ndai. So, yeah, it's not a bad decision, I think. It's a lot of context is also important. Yeah, Chelsea play on Monday, yeah. Exactly that. That's why I pretty much quickly corrected myself there when I said tomorrow. You reckon triple captain will outscore slot? For Game Week 24, it's possible. You know, and that's why I said to people earlier, if you are still very set on triple captain, go for Salah this week and, you know, you can still do really well. But I'm still of the opinion that the assistant manager will be better. Not just for 24, but also for next week where Liverpool will likely double. But I just think slot is such a powerful play. And then you can go to Arteta in Game Week 26, for example. Arsenal will sign someone. It depends on the Rashford loan to Villa and possibly the Tell loan to United. Yeah, I think the reports indicate that Tell will stay at Bayern Munich and then reassess his options in the summer. But there are a lot of rumours of Villa going for 3 attackers, which includes Daniel Marlon, who's already signed, Rashford, and then 1 more. So they're being very active in the market. But to go for 3 attackers is quite strange. Maybe they do sell... Well, obviously Duran's gone, and maybe Watkins too, but look, Arsenal needs someone. 25 hours to deadline, Arsenal, no transfers. Look, even if they sign someone now, I still think it's too late. I mean, look, they have to get someone in. They have to. It's as simple as that, but they should have done this 3 weeks ago, and to be honest, if you're being real, it's probably back in the summer. You know, it's been a while since Arsenal needed a top striker, but it's Arsenal. When do my AM points register? Already, mate. They should be registered already, as you can see on screen. Arne slot, 10 points. So that's all factored in. So 6 points for a win, 2 points for a clean sheet, and 1 point for each goal scored. 2-0 win. That's 10 points overall. And of course, David Moyes did even better so far. He's got the 12 points. Obviously, no table bonus for him against Leicester. But any result against Liverpool, a draw or a win, will result in a massive haul for David Moyes, the legend. Wood and Williams alone got me 29 points. Nico Williams, wow, fair play. That's a really good differential there. I was close to buying him very recently. But yeah, in the end, I went for sells. Not too shabby, I guess, but I was quickly thinking, oh, you know what? I burnt sells. You know, 7 goals conceded in 2 games since I bought him, but thankfully he got a clean sheet. How did Gordon not get the assist for the Murphy goal? There was a deflection and stuff like that. You know how FPL are about that, but yeah, Gordon got booked as well in that game. 1 point. He's been terrible recently. Feel like Diaz is going to be a sell for me in 25. Yeah, even if Liverpool double, I can see why you feel like that. Leicester is so bad, I completely agree, mate. Yeah, it's really, really bad. But they beat Spurs. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. No offense to Spurs fans there. Moyes slightly shading it at the moment, but given the opposition, not that surprising. But 4-0, where did that come from? Yeah, look, I originally said 2-0, then changed it to 2-1. I thought Leicester might have, you know, gotten a bit of momentum after that Spurs win, but no, I was horribly wrong. And of course, those with Everton assets and David Moyes will be very, very happy to say the least. That's for sure. Just give me a second, by the way. I'm just checking Twitter, seeing if there's any more updates we can provide, but yeah, no guarantees there. I mean, we've just obviously had all the games finish on the Saturday, and very shortly the bonus points will be allocated. Let's see if I can find this. Let's see. Oh, right. Okay. That's a bit strange. All right. Let's go back to your questions. Slot confirm that Trent. Yeah, we covered that, mate. Don't worry. Thank you, FPL Diamond. Always appreciated and great to see you. Like, share, subscribe, support your quality channel as you continue to get brilliant content on a consistent basis. Thank you very much. 74 points with 8 players to go. AM on Moyes at the moment. Yeah. A lot of high scores going around, which is great to see. So hopefully it continues and we get a great end to Double Gameweek 24. But yeah, I think it will probably be a a bit calmer with the points in the second half of Double Gameweek 24. Rodgers to Elanga? I wouldn't do that, no. Rodgers could double next week, and as I mentioned earlier in the deadline stream, I wouldn't be selling any Fulham, Spurs, Aston Villa, Liverpool, Arsenal, or Chelsea players because all of those teams could double in 25. Sarr to Kluivert or Elanga? I prefer Kluivert still. Guys, 300 guys in the chat and not even 100 likes. Please hit the like button on the stream. Close the live chat and smash the like button to support our mate Dylan. Thank you very much, Mohit. Very kind of you. No, so I've taken a hit this week, but not to get Arne Slot. He doesn't cost any transfer, by the way. But in order to get him in, I had to sell Gakpo to free up that Liverpool spot and also for the funds to actually get an assistant manager in. But that transfer was free and I went to Ndai. I decided to take a hit from Vandenberg to Mikalenko, and originally I was planning to sell Veltman, by the way, but I wanted to free up that spot for Visser potentially, that Brentford option, because I had 3 Brentford players. So yeah, I didn't take a hit to get Slot actually. It was really for Mikalenko. On 59 points at the moment, no chips activated. Yeah, look, hopefully they can double that by the end of the week and get a decent score. But look, 59 points isn't bad. It's just in such a high scoring week, it can feel a bit underwhelming, but there's still a lot of football to be played. Twisted Parky says, don't at any point go Ursula. 1 in the middle who had not played for 3 months, playing 3 behind Welbeck, 2 in the middle, or 3 at the back, 2 in the middle. Our setup today resembled FIFA's. It was mad. I'm not too sure I would even mind if we sacked him. I was going to ask you actually about your opinions on that, because you can't really judge on Twitter, right? Because it's typically toxic and you get a lot of vocal fans there and it can be a minority. But I've seen a lot of heat on Ursula by Brighton fans, and after a 7-0 loss, it's quite natural for that to happen. A lot of draws this season, not that many losses actually, but you can't lose 7-0 in the Premier League. And look, Forest have been brilliant, but when have they ever battered a team like that? I mean, it's very rare. So yeah, that is crazy. I think someone mentioned Ursula earlier today, and I wasn't too keen on it myself actually, and I definitely won't be recommending it now. Hey Dylan, much love from Kenya. 78 points with Mbumo, Gabriel, Palmer to play. Nicely done, and thank you for watching. It's great to see people from all over the world tuning in, and yeah, the internet is a crazy place. It's good to see you. 89 points for me. Rodgers is killing me with a hat-trick of 1-point returns now. Hopefully he returns against Ipswich. Yeah, and look, he might even face Liverpool by next week, although you're not hoping for that, with Spurs obviously reaching the Carabao Cup final. That's what you want, but yeah, really good score though. Just the Rodgers disappointment, but I don't think that's enough to ruin your week just yet. Went triple captain Salah. Let's see how this balances out. Yeah, I think triple captain Salah is looking amazing so far, and before the announcement on Friday, I was very consistent that I would triple captain Salah if I had the chip, but I'm still of the opinion that assistant manager is what I would have done if I had the triple captaincy available still, if you get what I mean. I just think that Friday announcement changed my outlook on Double Gameweek 24 and the AM chip. Happy human with that comment. I won't say it just in case. Not yet anyway. I think we'll only be able to say which chip has worked out better after Gameweek 26. Exactly that. And there are still triple captaincy opportunities later in the season for those that haven't played it yet. And in the case of the AM, the same also applies there. But yeah, it's very difficult to judge after what, 1 game out of the double for Liverpool and Everton. Villa's looking tired. Yeah, good point. I just wish they were more tired against Arsenal recently, but they made a great comeback on that day. Typical Villa, winning in the Champions League, then losing in the league on the weekend. Well, they've got Champions League heritage, don't they? They've won the competition before. Obviously, the Premier League, that's not the case, but they're a big club. They've got some great players, and their manager is a top coach. But look, with Emery, something that you've seen back in his PSG and Arsenal days, I just think sometimes he lacks, I don't know if it's mentality or just something to get over the line. It's harsh to say that when he's done such a great job at Villa, but I do think defensively, for example, he doesn't set his teams up that well. But of course, there are a lot of injuries at Aston Villa, which you could point towards. I just don't think with a fully fit squad, Villa keep that many clean sheets anyway. I had Elanga on my bench in my dad's team, not my main one. In my and dad's team. Yeah, double whammy for you. Sometimes when a team, well, when I have a player that faces Arsenal, I just start him, maybe captain him, and I can kind of like balance myself emotionally that way. My team is a big mess. You can check my team later in the Discord. Yeah, not right now. You know, that's only if like, I don't know, it's just very rare or very unlikely that I'm going to do it now, but I'll try to do it when I'm done. Is there an international break before Game Week 25? The next one is in March. It's always like that. You get an international break in August, in September, October, November, and then in March. And then, of course, in the summer, you have international competitions taking place. But yeah, it's going to be March. That's the next time we get an international break. It will be around the 21st. You know, that's normally the last 2 weeks of March is when you see an international break. Yeah, don't ever doubt the GOAT. I mean, Salah's the best FPL asset of all time. I don't think he's the best Premier League player, but we can start that discussion if you want. I don't think so, Singh. No. And also, I predicted 2-1 Liverpool for the game against Bournemouth. So far, he's done slightly better than expected with the clean sheet points. I really don't think so. And obviously, from my perspective, I've used my triple captaincy, so I'm not really too fussed. If I had the triple captaincy and I went for Slot, I'd be slightly concerned maybe and saying, oh, I should have gone for Salah, but it's really early on. And also, Slot isn't just for 24, he's for 25 as well, because I'm backing Liverpool to reach the Carabao Cup final and, yeah, have back-to-back double game weeks. Dylan, we are tripling Brentford free now. Maybe Vissa soon, yeah. Now, with Vissa, it's a bit strange the fact he's been linked so heavily to Nottingham Forest and they put that bid in. It's very, very surprising. But, yeah, if he stays at Brentford, I'm quite keen on buying him for Ndai at some stage. Sell Gordon to Kluivert or Semenyo or Rodgers? Well, if Aston Villa double, I'd probably lean towards Rodgers, but long term, I said this in the deadline stream earlier, I think Bournemouth assets are still very good investments, actually. I prefer Emery to a Villa player because it saves me a transfer in 29. That's fair enough, I get that. And looking long term is very important. I haven't gone that far to like 29 and 33 when talking about my transfer plans today in the deadline stream, because otherwise I would have just done no decision and ended up kicking myself because of it. But yeah, it's good to look ahead, for sure. I'm not too keen on Emery personally, but the table bonus against Liverpool would be massive if Villa could turn up on that day. I very much doubt it, but hopefully in your case, it goes well. So yeah, I think Game Week 25 is still a great time to use it, but you will have more opportunities later in the season. I was just very bullish on playing it today before Game Week 24 because of the back-to-back doubles. So I think that was the best time to do it. Now you pretty much just tackle a double game week. So either game week 25, maybe game week 31 in preparation for double game week 33, or around game week 35, 36 for double game week 36, if that is a thing. There is a chance we don't have a double in that game week. Hi Dylan, what are your thoughts on Cunha? Seems like he scored another big goal today. Yeah, in the 96th minute to kill off the match against Villa. I mean, look, Cunha is a good player. He's been brilliant this season. I mean, in terms of going to Arsenal, I'd take anybody at this point, but that's not really what you want to see. You want to have the best strikers and the best players go to your club, of course, and not just do panic buys, which Arsenal love to do. But yeah, Cunha is an FPL asset, very, very, very appealing. He's one to look at from game week 26, 27 onwards in preparation for blank game week 29, if you are looking to navigate that without the free hit. What is a more powerful chip that will get more points? Oh no, that's not even a debate, mate. The assistant manager is way more important. So Salah right now is doing incredible. He's got, what, 16 points? So you would have captained Salah anyway, right? With a triple captaincy, you're gaining 16 points so far. So that's still a really good return, actually, for a triple captain. It's a great, score secured already. But the assistant manager, you can easily get in that free game week period 30 to 50 points, depending on table bonus and, which transfers you make, etc. Finlay says, missed the deadline. Would you do AM next game week or wait till later in the season? Difficult to say. I mean, I consider saving until later in the season, actually, in this case, because you will have other double game weeks. But just bear in mind, if you've got all your other chips available, you need to be very mindful about that, because then you're kind of restricting yourself to using it around game week 36 if you want to use the chip during a double game week, actually. But yeah, it all depends on which chips you have available, mate. Slot to silver for potential table bonus or keep for game week 25? I'd keep it on slot. Yeah, that's one of the main reasons why I went for him over David Moyes, despite the higher ceiling for the Everton manager. Unless Liverpool don't double next week, I'd be keeping it on slot. Salah needs 66 points to break his all-time record in FPL points. Yeah, he's going to do it. Chris Wood is the real Premier League GOAT. Mishu is the cult hero, and Lundstrom is the Lord. Oh, I remember Lundstrom. That was good times. With Mishu, I wasn't playing FPL back then, unfortunately. Villa have won the league 7 times. Last was in 1980, 1981. In 1910, we beat the two, become champions of England in the Charity Shield. Yeah, look, that's why Aston Villa are a big club, and football didn't start in 1992 when the Premier League started. But I'm just saying in the Premier League era, they never won that. And I do think that also plays a part in terms of who are the most dominant sides now. I was so ready to get Watkins in for Wood next week. Not anymore, though. Well, yeah, let's see if he recovers in time. I am leaning more towards Rodgers in for Gordon, who has been a terrible transfer for me, by the way. I went way too late on that. But yeah, look, I'm still considering Watkins in for Isak. Maybe for a -4 hit even, but I'm less keen now, of course. Aina and Robinson on my bench. Points on my bench as usual. Yeah, I feel for you, mate. I mean, even Robinson 4 points on my bench. I'm not frustrated, but it's not ideal, is it? But yeah, I can relate with Semenyo. I had Chris Wood on my bench earlier this season, and Anthony Gordon when he got 10 points against Bournemouth back in Game Week 2. Best manager to switch from Slot at Game Week 26. I think Arteta would be very appealing against West Ham at home. Yeah. I would have bought in Wood if I didn't slot in Slot. Oof. Yeah, that's what I mean. And if I sold Chris Wood myself, I would have gone for David Moyes. So it kind of balances out sometimes. Maybe not in your case, of course, but I still think Arne Slot is a great play. Yeah, I think so, mate. You know, if Liverpool don't double next week, I'd be looking to take him off despite the Wolves at home fixture and then target one of Marco Silva and Postecoglou. Those will be the two options, of course. Maybe an Arteta or Maresca if Arsenal double by reaching the final. Richard Millerchip says, hey Dylan, gutted my aim on Moyes, didn't go through. Oof. Swear I confirmed it a few days ago, but just seen it isn't activated. Maybe Wi-Fi issues as I'm on holiday. So annoying, I feel like crying. I think it was because of the pending thing, which I did mention earlier today when someone asked me, how do you activate the chip? So basically, if I go to the... Should I go to the transfer section? Yeah, let's go to the transfer section. So let's go all the way up here, just to show people. So obviously here it says it's active now, but basically what you do is you click the button and there will be the opportunity to cancel because you haven't locked in your assistant manager yet after you click that button. You then select the manager and then you have to confirm the transfer and then it's locked in, you can't reverse the chip and you've got the AM active. So that's probably what happened in your case. You didn't actually confirm the transfer. Just having Arne Slot here after activating the assistant manager, in your case David Moyes, that doesn't mean that's locked in because you haven't confirmed the transfer and you could still cancel it by that stage. So yeah, that's probably what happened, unfortunately. Is the AM on my bench? No, it counts towards your score. Don't worry, mate. Yeah, someone actually said that in the deadline stream earlier today and I was crapping myself, to be honest. But yeah, I almost got done there. Yeah, no worries, Arthur. It was gifted in the deadline stream earlier, I think towards the end after the deadline passed. Slot looks great after 10 points versus Bournemouth. Salah could easily score 2 goals against another Premier League team in another game week. His points tally is insane this season. Moyes was maybe finishing on 12, 13 points. I agree. But to be fair, Salah did even better than expected against Bournemouth. The penalty helped, and that was contentious in itself. You know, obviously, maybe some people do think it was a pen, but yeah, ultimately, I'm happy with the points, and I'll take them all day long. And as a Haaland triple captain back in Game Week 2, I'm honestly not too bothered about Salah doing that well, but it does mean my rank goes down slightly because his effective ownership is over 200%. So that basically means any returns he gets means a slight red arrow or I drop points from his returns. Thoughts on Arsenal City tomorrow? If Raya plays, I mean, Arsenal could get the job done. If he doesn't, I'd be slightly concerned. I did go for 2-1 Arsenal as my prediction, but I'm a bit unsure about it. I mean, City could go to the Emirates and get a result for sure, but I think defensively they still leave so many gaps and spaces, and the midfield can be bypassed. It all depends on how Pep Guardiola kind of sets up the team, but yeah, it's just with Arsenal, until they sign that quality attacker, because without Saka they've got no world-class winger or striker, I just see it very difficult for Arsenal to be guaranteed of victories like Liverpool are at the moment. Arsenal signing a striker is like Spurs winning a trophy, not happening. Well, the last quality striker Arsenal signed was Aubameyang in January, but it's been too long. And before that was Robin van Persie. But the thing is, Arsenal typically have top quality strikers, but on the whole, you could argue they kind of sign, you know, these kind of upcoming talents, then develop them into world stars like Thierry Henry, or they get someone from a mid-table club like Ian Wright from Crystal Palace. But yeah, look, I just want a quality striker, someone who can finish their dinner. I think Havertz did really well in 2024, but he can't be relied upon as the only striker. I'm definitely getting Cunha for that run of green fixtures. Yeah, he's definitely on my radar as well. And if it wasn't for that suspension and, you know, the difficult fixtures, I still probably would have kept him, actually. Got 89 so far, no hit, 7 to play, AM. Nicely done. 90 points with Mbeumo, Visser, Ahmad, Palmer, Salah, Captain, Trent, Alisson, Miklenko and Moyes left. Yeah, that's really good scores flying around. Is it too late to buy Wood? I haven't owned a Forest player all season. Well, in preparation for Blank Game Week 29, I think Chris Wood is still a decent purchase, but yeah, over the next 3 game weeks, let's say, I think there are better forwards to buy. That could include Visser, if he stays at Brentford, Ollie Watkins, if Villa double next week, and if he's available. So maybe closer to Game Week 29, I'd say, not right now. Hopefully not Jellyfish, but yeah, City have got some attacking talent for sure, and they can cause a lot of problems. I've got no idea what to do with my team for the next game week, but that is a problem for future me in 10 days. Yeah, probably best not to think about it too much, but of course, in this reaction stream, we can give our initial opinions. Thoughts on the Rashford transfer, FPL-wise, and Rodgers' minutes risk? I still think they can coexist in the same team, but that's a good point to be raised. Rodgers has played a lot of games on the left this season, and with Marcus Rashford, how does that impact Rodgers' positioning or minutes? I still think he'll play most games. He's been so good for them this season, and I think he's been their star player, actually. But yeah, if Villa can keep Watkins, have Rodgers and Rashford in that team, I think they're going to be absolute killers on the transition and really punish certain opponents. So I actually don't think it impacts Rodgers too much, but maybe I'm underplaying it a little bit. Arturo says, I switch Wood to Gakpo and have Elanga on the bench. Unbelievable. Really unlucky, I have to say that. And I almost sold Chris Wood instead of Gakpo myself. Yeah, it's just funny how these things can play out sometimes. Newcastle losing their form, still keeping both Gordon and Isak. One of them will be sold, I think, to a Villa player if Liverpool and Villa double next week. That's the current plan. I've burnt Gordon, which I said I'd do a couple of weeks ago. And hopefully they also play poorly in the Carabao Cup semi-final. That is my hope. Worth keeping Bruno Fernandes, if not free hitting in 29? I'd still probably sell him. If you can go to Mbeumo, for example, that's a very good long-term transfer, but the priority should be Double Gameweek 25, where you might look at Rodgers instead, or other areas of your team. Liverpool midfield and defence were incredible today. Is Trent injured? Yes, Trent was subbed off due to an injury. I gave the update by Arne Slot, where he said he's unlikely going to play in the Carabao Cup semi-final on Thursday, so that is a blow. I still think he'll be available for Game Week 24 against Everton in 12 days' time, though. Wouldn't using AM chip in Game Week 31 fight with a bench boost or Double Game Week? Yes, but like I said, it's just one possibility, and it also depends if Game Week 36 is the bigger Double Game Week. If that's the case, I'd recommend using the bench boost in Game Week 36 and then the assistant manager in Game Week 31 potentially. That's why it's not clear cut. I'm just giving time frames and periods where you could use these chips. If Salah gets another return, triple captainers can just play AM next week or later and win out overall. Potentially, but Arne Slot could get, let's say if they beat Everton 1-0, he gets another 10 points. Well, in that case, it'd be 9 points. Yeah, so 9 points, that's 19 for this week. And then next week, he gets, let's say, 20, 30 points, you know, for more victories. It's probably going to be 20, right? I mean, I guess what you're saying is somewhat correct. That is probably true. I'm not really too bothered about that myself because, like I said, I used the assistant manager back in, the triple captaincy back in Game Week 2. But it's all relative, right? And I do think it's still a great play to go for the AM chip this week. And remember, it's not just Game Week 24, it's Game Week 25 and 26, and the domino effect it is caused by. So there's a lot of things that come into play there. I think we can fully judge it by the end of the free game week period, not right now. 5 games in the free game week period is insane. I saw it after the deadline. I feel like I've messed up now. Yeah, in terms of quantity of fixtures, it's such a great play in my opinion. Thank you, Vera. I'm doing well. Hopefully you are too. Well, UCL draw, I'm not going to go into that too much right now. Of course, City Madrid is the kind of star-studded lineup. We'll talk more about that in UCL Fantasy, of course. Kluivert or Semenyo? Kluivert for me. Yeah, I think Watkins in for Isak is definitely one to consider. It's more likely I'll buy Rodgers for Gordon though, and it gives me a lot of money in the bank to make other moves in the future. Yeah, Rodgers was great in the UCL, definitely. Used AM this week, mistake. When is it best to use triple captain now? Game week 33 or 36 potentially, or in a single game week like game week 28 for Salah against Southampton at home. So with Salah, I mean, he scored, you know, braces, or he's gotten 2-3 goal contributions in the same game on so many occasions this season. So he might blank against Everton, and then in the end it's 18 points, which is still very good, by the way, but I think he could produce a better score later in the season, actually. The next double game week, mate, is in 25. Rewind the video and you can see the segments where I show the slides and break down all the chips and double game weeks and blanks in detail, or just check out the deadline stream / the assistant manager guide live stream I made yesterday, so it's all covered there. 73 with Salah captain, Van Dijk, Pickford, Palmer, Munoz, Visser and assistant manager slot. What do you think? Yeah, good score. Great players left on paper, and I think Arne Slot is a very solid pick. I think I did predict 1-1 originally between Everton and Liverpool, but I think Liverpool sneak it right now. That would be my prediction. Buy Visser or keep Gakpo and buy Cunha from 26. I'd keep Gakpo for now. That would be my advice. Moyes Asman came in clutch. I just need an Everton result against Liverpool. Yeah, like I said, I'm not too bothered either way if Everton do get the result. I'll be happy either way, but yeah, from an FPL perspective, it would be pretty bad for me. Pieter says, I've got to wait on news about Trent and if he's fit for Everton game, and next week was thinking about switching Isak to Watkins, but have to wait on the Watkins injury news and then decide what to do with Gordon. If you don't have Rodgers, I'd probably suggest going from Gordon to Rodgers instead. Then you can move Rodgers on to Kluivert or another budget midfielder in the future if you want to, but that's not necessary. Man, before Palace and Arsenal, Ian Wright had a trial for us, but we didn't think he would make it. A bit like Gyökeres and Undav. Wow, I actually wasn't aware of the Brighton link there with Ian Wright, but look, you're not the only club to make mistakes like that in terms of scouting or trialing. And yeah, Arsenal have done plenty themselves. What about UCL 83 points? Yeah, I think I got around that. I'll talk about that in the UCL fantasy content. I haven't even updated the graphics for the points and stuff just yet. Sartor Rodgers or Hall to Konsa for a -4. Worth it if Villa double? I said this before. I'm not keen on taking a hit for a Villa defender. The only Villa players I'd recommend are Rodgers and Watkins, if he's fit. Yeah, Rashford will likely go to Aston Villa. That was reported by David Ornstein, one of the most reliable journalists in the UK. Hi Dylan, my Arne Slot has got his points written below him, but it hasn't been summed up with my total gaming score. When will it? It probably has, mate. The reason why, if I go back to my normal team, the reason why you probably haven't seen a full reflection on it is because the bonus points haven't been added just yet. Once they are, you'll see your definitive score. Salah as your captain will give you 6 extra points. As a triple captain, you get 9 additional points, of course. So yeah, don't worry about that. Your points from the assistant manager have been added already. So in my case, if you look at the FPL website, it says I've got 79 points, but I've actually got 89. Yeah, is that the case? Or am I being stupid? Yeah. Because I've obviously got Chris Wood with 3 bonus points coming along, so that's going to be 17 points. So yeah, that's why you might feel like you don't have those counted just yet, but no, that is the case. It does count. It's not like you benched Arne Slot accidentally or something. That'd be quite dumb from FPL if they were to do that. That's not the case, don't worry. Who do you sell Sar to? I think I'm 0.5 million off in Boomer, unfortunately, or would you keep for Everton at home? Rodgers, if Villa double next week. That would be my suggestion. I still like Kluivert and Semenyo. Well, I sold Gabriel to get Trent. That was my only route for Trent Alexander-Arnold. I'll probably get Gabriel back very soon, so don't worry about that. Especially if Arsenal double in 25. Gabriel will be one of the first transfers in for me. So it's just how FPL is, right? You can't have them all. Will you keep Everton defence for Game Week 29? I mean, Mikolenko's only a 4th or 5th defender for me now, and I bought him for the double, so I think so. It all depends. If I'm in a really good position by that stage and I don't free hit, you know, if I've got a luxury transfer also to spare, then maybe, but I don't see myself really prioritizing selling Mikolenko, which I also did back in Game Week 17, by the way. I don't understand why people are getting rid of Isak. Nottingham Forest at home is a great fixture for Newcastle. Surely they score in that match. Well, Isak did very well in the reverse fixture, but they are in poor form right now. Of course, he was very close to scoring today on a few occasions. He was a bit unlucky. Moyes to Emery or Silva in 25? That depends on who reached the final in the Carabao Cup. That's been covered to death earlier. Check out, you know what, I might just play the side again because I know some people are tuning in a bit late. So I'm going to let it play out. So just watch the video. Feel free to pause at any stage, like I said. But I've already kind of talked over it quite a lot in the last couple of days. I'm probably going to drive myself insane if I do it one more time. But basically, if Liverpool reached the Carabao Cup final, I'd go for Emery because Aston Villa would double in Game Week 25. But if Spurs hold on against Liverpool and reach the Carabao Cup final, it would be Spurs and Fulham doubling in 25. So in that case, I'd go for Marco Silva. So I can't really say, oh, you should go for Emery instead. I think it will be Villa doubling, but it all depends on who doubles ultimately. Should we sell Wood? No, but I also wouldn't be buying him in right now. I think he's more of a hold, which I talked about in my Transtats podcast on Monday. Aren't the Gunners looking at Gyökeres? Feels like he could fit Arsenal. I don't think so. If that move were to be made or even attempted, it would be in the summer. But I think Gyökeres himself said he wants to stay until the end of the season at least, and Sporting don't want to sell right now. So Arsenal just have left it too late, as they usually do. If you were to buy Kirkes, which would you sell, Robinson or Hall? All selling price at 4.9 million. Kirkes rises Sunday night. I'm leaning towards Hall out. I think Kirkes is the better long-term hold, actually. Bournemouth have better fixtures. It helps you navigate blank Game Week 29. You've also got doubles later in the season, although for Lewis Hall, that's probably the case too. In fact, they will be. But yeah, I'd lean towards keeping Kirkes instead and selling Lewis Hall. The thing is, though, I have to say, well, no, actually, in the case of Newcastle, it's not relevant. They're not doubling in 25. It'd be a shock if they were doubling in 25 in the end. But yeah, no matter what anyone does, don't sell any Aston Villa, Chelsea, Arsenal, Spurs, Fulham, or Liverpool players just yet. Anyone who could double in 25, basically. I have 55 points, Wood and Salah. Fair play. Yeah, you got some good players there. Chris Wood and Salah obviously did very well today. Gyökeres, if and when he leaves, will probably go to United in the summer. Right now, United are focused on getting Rashford's wages and Casemiro's wages off the bill. Yeah, I think Gyökeres will more likely go to United with the Amorim links. I just don't see him at Arsenal, unfortunately. Lucas Dunn says, do you think I made a bad choice using the triple captain? I'm annoyed I missed the game with the assistant manager chip. Well, if you went for Salah triple captain, I wouldn't be feeling that after today. In fact, a lot of triple captainers are here in the live chat saying, oh, is it better than the AM chip? I'm still quite bullish and I think the AM one is better, but it's also team dependent and it's quite easy for me to say because I used it already, the triple captaincy, so I'm actually quite comfortable with going for Slot as the assistant manager. Using AM transfer, using free transfer right? Yes. It's literally covered in the slide right here. I'll probably go for it one more time. So, wait, let's see. Here we go. So your first selection, if it's in this, no, this is covering other points here, but yeah, this is the one that you want to kind of highlight. Your first selection doesn't use a free transfer. So in my case, I got Arne Slot for free. But if you decide to switch in Game Week 25, that will cost a transfer, and it could even mean a -4 hit if you've made other transfers elsewhere. So yeah, that is the answer to your question, and this is the breakdown of the AM chip once again, and these are the points that you get as well. Let me just double check something there. System manager. All right, so good to see so many of you here at the moment. Almost 400 of you, by the way. Let's get the likes up to 200 plus at the very least. It's great to see so many faces here, also some new ones, and of course the regulars in this channel. There is more UCL fantasy and FPL content headed your way, but with the big kind of wait until Double Gameweek 25, the content will be spaced out, not like the last couple of days where it's just been bam, bam, bam with the live streams and videos. But let me just see. I just want to rectify something just in case. I might have gotten one of these graphics slightly wrong, so just give me a second whilst I double check. Let's see. Oh, right, yeah. So there is one thing wrong here. Let me just update that here. I do apologize for this. So yeah, let me see if I can do this now. Hopefully it doesn't mean any lagging or problems with the stream, but I think it's worth rectifying this. So yeah, with a table bonus for a draw, by the way, it's not 6, it's 5. So I do apologize for that. I mean, it's just a little mistake, but yeah, I don't want to spread misinformation, so I do apologize. Let me get that. System manager, images. This will be for the points. Got a lot of different files here, so just going to rectify this on screen here. And let's see if I can export the video again. Probably risky to do it now, but I'm going to attempt it. See if my new computer can hack it. No flex, I promise. I'm not flexing new technology here. Yeah, there we go. You can ignore, by the way, the ranks and stuff in these slides. They're from Gameweek 24. Sorry, Gameweek 23. But yeah, this is the updated version. So you get 5 points for a table bonus draw. So if Moyes gets, let's say, a 1-1 draw against Liverpool, it'll be 1 point for scoring a goal, 3 points for a draw in general, and then 5 points for table bonus draw. And of course, a win would be 10 points on top of the 6. So yeah, a massive ceiling there if you do go for a table bonus eligible manager. So I do apologize for that slight mishap. It's 5 points for a draw, table bonus, not 6. Breaking news, Matheus Cunha set to sign new contract at Wolves with a release clause active from the summer. I appreciate the update. Let me know what the source is. I'm guessing it's a reliable one, but you have to be careful. Yeah, Watkins, it looks like he's injured. I mean, he's still linked with Arsenal and moves away. I'm still not really too confident Arsenal get the move, by the way, but yeah, we've still got a long way to go until Aston Villa's next game in Double Gameweek 25, but I'm leaning towards Rodgers in for Gordon, actually. That is my preference to cover Villa if they double next week. I use my aim on Moyes. So far, so good. Yes, and it could be great if they get a result against Liverpool, which I'm kind of hoping for, but FPL-wise, it would definitely benefit me if Liverpool get the job done. Yep, Watkins and Trent obviously got subbed off with injuries today. They have been covered earlier. Worth keeping Moyes? I'd probably sell him because against Crystal Palace, there won't be table bonus. Everton have gone up to 15th in the table. Yeah, I'd be looking to sell David Moyes in 25. I'm a target Villa fixture after they play UCL games. Today is an example. That's a good point. Sorry, yeah, I think that's one to look at in the round of 16 and beyond. So we're talking about March and April in the Champions League, and then we can then translate that into the Premier League. That's definitely something to look at in a couple of months' time. Sources Fabrizio Romano, fair enough. Definitely reliable then. Trust Isak against City or play and die against Palace? I mean, based on recent form, Everton assets are worth playing at the moment, but I'd go for Isak all day long. Liverpool winning 2-0 at Bournemouth is something Man City, Forest and Arsenal wish they could achieve. I mean, to be fair, Arsenal had 10 men, and Liverpool did have a somewhat contentious penalty, let me add. But yeah, I mean, Bournemouth are a good side. Liverpool got the job done, and they are the best team in the Premier League right now. But there is still a few months left. I still don't think Liverpool really have any competition in the Prem this season. It'll be interesting to see how they do in the Champions League, though, where they are going very strong as well, too. 99 points of Palmer, Salah, Gakpo, Pickford, Trent, and Dye to go. I did triple captain Salah, as I told you today. Nicely done. Like I said, different strategies, different ways of playing it. I'm still very happy with the AM chip, of course, and I think over the next 3 game weeks, it's going to pay off, especially with Arne's slot. How confident are you that Liverpool get another double in 25? Very confident. 1-0 down against Spurs in the Carabao Cup semi-final. They're playing at Anfield. I think Liverpool go through, personally. Are taking it's justifiable now that we have back-to-back double game weeks? Yes, but it also depends who you're selling and buying. But in a lot of scenarios, I think it can pay off. Hi, Dylan, joined late. Any news on Trent? Yeah, so I'll give you the exact update, and then I'll go to some different screens and then answer some more questions before wrapping up. But this is what Arne Slot said. I did mention it earlier, but I'll go for it one more time. These are his exact words about Trent. The situation was, they said to me, you have to take me off, and he sat on the floor and we took him off. He felt something. I can't tell you exactly how, what and how bad it is, of course, but we are 1 hour after the game, but it is never a good sign if a player is asking for a substitution. This is not a fact, but I would be surprised if he plays on Thursday, but let's hope he is back with us as soon as possible. That's the latest update. I still think he plays against Everton in Double Gameweek 24. But if he doesn't, and he's a doubt for Gameweek 25, Trent will be a very popular sell going into a potential double there for Liverpool next week. When I say next week, I mean next game week, of course. Is Watkins essential for possible double game week? Not essential, no. And look, before today, Watkins was actually in really good form. He scored against Celtic, missed a penalty, but got an assist too. And he also got some returns against Everton, Arsenal, etc. So, one, he's not essential, but also I think he's still a great option for double game week 25 if, one, Villa double, and two, if he's actually fit and available, because he did get subbed off with an injury. Bournemouth were unlucky not to score? Yeah, they were. They hit the crossbar. Kluivert missed an open goal, essentially. He should have buried it. But look, Liverpool, obviously, Alisson made some great saves. He's a top goalkeeper, and they deserve the win. But Bournemouth should have scored, yeah. Delamay, FPL is pain. Bench Gibbs White for Rodgers. No Wood. Ended up playing no chip. Sold Foden for Gordon before his hauls. Game over, man. Game over. Overall before today was 678k. Yeah, look, I also was very late to the Gordon party despite always promoting him, but just never actually buying the twat. Yeah, benching Gibbs White, I understand why you did it though. I probably would have said the same thing to you. So, yeah, hopefully it does turn around for you at the end of this game week and also in future weeks. But, yeah, look, I actually had some luck this time round because I was so close to selling Chris Wood myself. You need luck in this game, ultimately. Keith, thank you very much as well. If you got Moyes, who would you transfer out for game week 25? So if Spurs, let me go back to my team, by the way. If Spurs reach the Carabao Cup final, yeah, it's between Silva and Postecoglou. I would probably, I did say Postecoglou earlier, and that might still be the case, but Fulham potentially getting table bonus is very interesting, actually, against Forest. I think I'd lean towards Postecoglou, but that isn't set in stone. And of course, if Villa double by Liverpool reaching the Carabao Cup final, I'd go to Emery in that case, but I'm not too keen on Aston Villa. The only kind of assets I'm really keen on are Rodgers and Watkins if he's fit. Thank you, Basunu04. Truly appreciate the videos and streams of late. You're working your socks off. Thank you very much. And it's always good to see you. Of course, there's like 3 streams in the last day and you've been in all of them. So thank you very much. Dylan, do you think it would have been better if table bonus was 12 points for a win and 6 points for a draw, doubling the points for a win and a draw? Well, yeah, I did correct that. So it technically is double. So it's 10 points for a win and it's 5 points for a table bonus draw. I think it's quite good the way it is. You could argue the assistant manager chip is too overpowered or it's too complicated and it's not really like an FPL sort of chip anyway. We'll talk more about that once we have, once we see how it ends up panning out and just a lot of other factors. I think there's still a lot to discuss and we can't make a fully informed opinion just yet. Yeah, so yeah, Fabrizio Romano confirmed the Cunha new contract. Thank you very much. Marlon, our position on the watch list. I don't think he played well today. I didn't watch like the entire second half, but when I saw Marlon come on, I wasn't too convinced, of course, but you can't really judge him just yet. So I'm going to refresh this page. Okay, no, the bonus points still haven't been added, so that was absolutely useless. But yeah, we'll wait. Very shortly, we should see these bonus points come in. So yeah, in my case, I've got 89 points so far for the game week. Should reach 100 fairly soon. But yeah, hopefully I can build upon this and have some momentum finally. FPL is a luck game. We buy players, hoping players perform well in a real-life football game. Yeah, of course. It's fun. Sometimes there are things you can predict in terms of if a team is going to get a win or if a certain player is going to do well. But yeah, you need a lot of luck in this game for sure. Oh, Rodgers is a hold. I'm actually looking to buy him in 25 if Villa double. Do not sell any player who could potentially double in game week 25. Villa are one of them. Red arrow for me, only because Forest went riot somehow. Who would have expected it, mate? 7-0. I was saying 1-1, maybe 1-0 at a push. Yeah, football's a funny game. Trent hamstring injury depends on the level type. It's not serious. He'll play against Everton. If worse, he will miss the game. Yeah, I personally think he'll play, but I don't know too much about the injury, just those slot comments, and of course, seeing him come off around the 70th minute. Michael says, I was planning on doing Aina to Kirkes, but since Trent is injured, I should hold on, right? Yeah, hold on to what you have right now. But I do like Kirkes long term, I have to say that. That's a great move, but I wouldn't be selling Aina just yet. So let's go to some different screens and see what the FDR and all these different algorithms are saying. For some reason it's being it's refreshed for some reason, even though it was already earlier. So Arsenal are now top of the FDR, but that's assuming they double in 25, which is pretty unlikely in my opinion. Liverpool, Fulham, Spurs and Chelsea complete the top 6. They are the potential doublers, of course, in 25. The teams near the bottom include Ipswich Town, Leicester City, Everton, Newcastle and Nottingham Forest. Obviously, before Game Week 24, the deadline, Everton were near the top. So it goes to show you how important double game weeks can be with these projections. As for predicted points, and for some reason this is also loading up again. So for Game Week 25, Salah is top once again, Watkins is second, and we've got Trent, Gakpo, Diaz, Palmer, Haaland, Alisson, Van Dijk and Rodgers in the top 10. And predicted, I don't know why it keeps refreshing Fantasy Football. Come on. Let's look at the next 3 game weeks for assistant managers. So Arne Slot remains top, and he was, of course, before Game Week 24. Moyes is nowhere to be seen, of course. He was quite high up for Game Week 24 only, but he's not really backed by these predicted points in terms of Game Week 25 and 26, and it looks like 27 is also the case. So we've got Arteta, Postecoglou, Marco Silva, Emery and Glasner in the top 6, with Ursula. Not sure about that, buddy. He's 7th in this list. They consider 7th today, no offense. Guardiola, Maresca, Areola in the top 10 as well. Let's actually look where David Moyes is, by the way. Now look, give me points over expected points any day, right? But yeah, for Game Week 25, I wouldn't be buying David Moyes. Let me put it that way. He is, what? Where is he in this list? 15th? 15th? No, he's 16th, which is actually perfect. That fits the meme. 16th! And then, yeah, you got Nuno Espirito Santo, bottom again, just like he was before Game Week 24. And he's got 15 points so far. Well, for Game Week 24, he has got 15 points with that 7-0 win. What more can you say? As for predicted price changes, everything is refreshing, by the way. Gakpo, Kanate, Szoboszlai, Danga Ouattara and Kluivert are all expected to rise tonight. And price falls galore. Mateta, Estupinian, Strand Larsen, Gordon, Gabriel, Forbes, Palmer, Cher, Baleba, Colwill, who's in my team, Timber, Son, Soler, McAteer, Gruder, Mosquera, Justin Adingra, Vitau, Ben White, Havertz. Who next? Fairy Godmother, your mum, your uncle, who knows at this point? Let's also go to Draft and see what they're recommending in terms of predicted points for the next 3 game weeks. Salah, Palmer, Isak Mbumo, Chris Wood, Kluivert, Gabriel, Haaland, Foden and Ahmad. And Chris Wood, by the way, was in the top 10 before the hat-trick, so it's not Draft Town being overreactionary and just putting him up there because of a hat-trick. He was actually already in this list. And let's look at stats. The most captain player, is it really a shock? Salah with 97% of the captaincy in the top 100k. Isak second, that flopped big time, no offense. Gakpo, Palmer and Trent in the top 5. Ndai, cheeky, in the top 7. Nice. 6th actually. So let's look at my provisional transfer plans for Game Week 25. If Aston Villa and Liverpool double there, I'm looking to buy Rodgers for Anthony Gordon. And I could also buy Ollie Watkins for Isak if he's fit, and if Villa, of course, double. That is something else I'm looking at. I'm not really fancying the Aston Villa defenders. I've already got my Liverpool triple up, of course. But if Fulham and Spurs double instead, I'll be looking to buy potentially Raul Jimenez up front, although that would be for Ndai, I think, in this case. But yeah, interesting times ahead, and it all depends on who doubles. You know, if it's Chelsea, I've got Colwill in place with Palmer, and I'd be looking to buy Gabriel if Arsenal reach that Carabao Cup final, with that London derby falling into Game Week 25. And I might even add another Arsenal player elsewhere, but I'm not too keen on the attackers. Hopefully just sign a big, a great striker, and then maybe I'll reconsider that. As for FPL Challenge, I did go for David Moyes here, so not too bad. Pickford with the assist, Tarkowski as well with another assist, Van Dijk with the clean sheet, Trent clean sheet, Salah captain, Diaz, Gakpo with the penalty one, Palmer, Mbumo, Ndai, who scored that late goal, and David Moyes. So 81 points in Assistant Manager. In FPL Challenge, not too shabby, if I may say so myself. Dylan, let's face it, Semenyo misses as much as he does, hitting the bar because he has no awareness to place the ball in the net. It's all about rockets with him. He did score a good goal recently where he placed it and showed some composure, but you are right. He's got great shot power, and that's why he scores some goals from distance, but Yeah, look, for example, if he's linked to Arsenal, he's a good winger. He adds squad depth, but I don't think he takes Arsenal to the next level. That's what I want. Level raisers like an Isak up front. You could say Ollie Watkins as well, but look, he's a good winger, don't get me wrong. I'll start him next week in 25 and hope for the best. I don't think he's a top talent or a top winger. I don't think he will be world class, personally. Fulham versus Forest is a confirmed table bonus match in 25. Yeah, exactly that. Despite Fulham winning today at St James's Park, you know, Forest have just been incredible. Thoughts on triple captaining Arne Slot? Unfortunately, you can't do that. Thoughts on triple captain Salah, double game at 25, Wolves at home, Villa away. I think it could be stronger than 24, you know, despite what he just did against Bournemouth. And of course, need some luck to go your way as well with a penalty or something like that. But yeah, if you're not playing the assistant manager chip, triple captain Salah in 25 looks really strong. 28 against Southampton at home, or a possible double later in the season. You've got a lot of opportunities, but just be mindful about other chips as well, like the bench boost, which you might want to use in Double Gameweek 33 or 36. Thank you, Keith. I appreciate the kind words. It's kind of typical on YouTube anyway in terms of the likes to watching ratio, but those that have liked, thank you very much. If Liverpool win, keeping Slot, otherwise I am warming to Ange. Yeah, so it also depends on the double, right? If Liverpool don't reach that Carabao Cup final, I might just go to Ange myself or Marco Silva. Surely Brighton have to sack their coach now. It's possible. I mean, after such a heavy defeat, there's always a possibility, but I still think he'll stay. Dylan, how many are you going to buy in 25? How much will this affect you in 25? I could free hit in 29. The problem with that sort of strategy, though, is Gameweek 33, we could have a double, but that would include teams that will blank in 34. So you could argue the free hit in 34 is even stronger. If only we had 2 free hits, right? I'd easily use them in the 2 blank Gameweeks and Bob's your uncle. But yeah, definitely one to look at. You could be onto something there. Free hit 29 is great for Aston Villa and Liverpool double in 25, to be honest. Yeah. But like I just mentioned, Gameweek 34 might also be a great time to use it. It all depends on how the doubles land and how the blanks really transpire, especially in Gameweek 34. Hey Dylan, that Mikalenko transfer seemed to have done okay. Yeah, it's not too shabby. And also a few kind of plus points about it. You know, I got rid of Vandenberg, so I've got that Brentford slot available for Vissa if I want to go there. And yeah, it gives me another option for the next couple of weeks. I don't mind starting Mikalenko against Palace away in Gameweek 25. Mohit says Brighton will not sack their manager. Too many injuries at the club. Hursler will get better next season. Iriola was winless in his first 10 games at Bournemouth. Really good point. And I did mention this to somebody, I think a family member, about Iriola, because people are quick to forget. People were saying, oh, Iriola's clueless. You know, we should have kept Gary O'Neill. And to be fair, at the time, I thought it was a very harsh sacking because he did very well with Bournemouth, let's not forget. But Iriola has turned things around big time. Only 8.6 for Arteta. Yeah, if we go back to that predicted points thing, let's go all the way up. So Arteta, yeah, 8.6 in Gameweek 26, but that is up there with the highest, if I'm not mistaken. If we look at just Gameweek 26 alone, can I just do that? Yeah, that'd be nice. Hello? Yeah. Yeah, Arteta is top of Gameweek 26. Then you've got Van Nistelrooy, Iriola, Howe. That's why I may consider slot to Arteta. The thing is, though, West Ham under Potter, that could be a trickier game. Might be 3-1, which is okay, but not a massive ceiling. So, yeah, that's not locked in for me, by the way. And it also might be influenced by my affinity or affiliation with Arsenal. But, yeah, it's just something to look at. It's a possible decent use of that kind of transfer in Gameweek 26 with the assistant manager, because with slot, you've got Man City away. Liverpool could go there and win, to be fair, but you're not going to get a massive ceiling, in my opinion. So let's now go back to my squad, and hopefully FPL will finally up. Yeah, they have. Well done. The points have been added with predicted? No, with bonus points, and I've got 89, as you can see on the left-hand corner of your screen. Let's answer a few more questions and wrap things up. There have been a lot of streams recently. On Wednesday, the UCL Fantasy Deadline. On Friday, the kind of chip strategy guide and assistant manager, you know, kind of explanation. And of course, the deadline stream earlier as well. Dylan should be concerned that Gakpo subbed off before 70 minutes today. No, not for me, because I sold him. Look, I said earlier today, I think Gakpo could be benched in one of the 4 games if Liverpool double against Villa as well. But he should start 3 of them at least. He's in great form right now. He scored against PSV in the midweek. I think he is first choice over Diaz on the left, and Jota is being eased back in. But yeah, I think Gakpo should start against Everton. That also depends on how they line up in the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup, though. That's also worth mentioning. But yeah, I'd say Gakpo starts 2 of the next 3 matches in the Premier League. 20 points for Vitor Pereira this game week after the win against Villa. It goes to show you how important table bonus can be. From an FPL point of view, I'm hoping that isn't the case with David Moyes, because that would be a massive swing in their favour. Welcome, Beardy. I've captained Trent, Moyes and Becker saved my week. Yeah, Alisson was great today, and I wasn't expecting that big of a return from him. Ange to Asman next week if Spurs go to the final. I don't have Spurs or Fulham players. Yeah, that's my current preference, but Marco Silva is also not too shabby. No, you can't cancel the manager chip. Once it's activated, you can't cancel it in that free gaming period. When to wildcard? Later in the season, around gaming 30-32, is covered in the slides, which I mentioned earlier. Would you still start Wood in the harder fixtures coming up, or bench him? I mean, it all depends on the alternatives, but I'm quite happy to start him in those tough games right now. Top 3 defenders for next week? It all depends on who doubles. I don't want to sit on the fence, but it ultimately depends on that. If Liverpool and Aston Villa double, I would say Trent, assuming he's fit, Van Dijk, and possibly Gabriel as a single gaming option anyway. If Arsenal double, I'd also include the likes of Saliba and Timber in that conversation. So like I said, it all depends on who doubles. If Spurs reach the final, then I'd be looking at Robinson from Fulham as well. I mean, he's a great option anyway. Is Jarrod Bowen worth looking at soon if he's back fit? Yes. But with the double in 25 and Brian Mbeumo, who for me is a priority in the midfield, that would be where I'd focus my attention on first before going for these sorts of punts like Bowen. But he's the best West Ham asset in my opinion. What about Wood? Should I sell him? No. As I mentioned before, I'd hold on to him. Trent was subbed off with an injury. That's covered already. I said the exact words by Arne Slot on it. So if you want, rewind the stream and you'll see what I discussed. But essentially, he is a major doubt for the Thursday game. But I'm still quite confident that he will play in Double Gameweek 24. I know it's a bit early to ask, but what is the next best week to play Asman chip? Yeah, so if you're triple captaining Salah in 25, which I think is a good play, by the way, I'd consider Game Week 28 against Southampton at home for Salah. Otherwise, double Game Week opportunities like Game Week 33 or 36, and it all depends on how the doubles land. We don't know that yet. For Dad's / mine second team, for some reason, triple captain wouldn't work. We'll use next week. Yeah, with that one, it can also be a bit finicky, but you have to click the button and then save it and make sure it says your team has been saved. Hi Dylan, would you change Asman if Slot doesn't double in 25? I think so. Yeah, that's the main reason why I played the chip this week, to have back-to-back doubles, so that is the most likely scenario for me. Isn't it better to use free hit in the big blank game week later? I mentioned this before, game week 29 or 34 is probably the best time to use the free hit. I still like using it in a double game week, but if you've got all the chips, you might want to use the assistant manager or the triple captaincy or something else like the wildcard just beforehand to set it up. So it all depends on your chips available. That Liverpool pen was weird, looked really soft, but Lewis Cook didn't really complain about it. Yeah, look, there is one angle which Liverpool fans have been showing where it's from behind and it points towards the contact that's being made. So look, maybe it was a penalty. I just thought from certain angles it looked like a ridiculous decision where Gakpo trips himself up. And, you know, you have seen this sort of penalties given before, but very rarely. Ultimately, I just don't like football in general, the way it's going in terms of how soft it is, some of the penalties you get. I mean, look at, for example, Havertz against Man United in the FA Cup only a couple of weeks ago. I don't like those sort of penalties being given. I'm confused about Double Gameweek 25. What are the teams? I mean, I've explained it in a simple way. Trust me, mate. It's just, not to be rude, I've kind of been sick of repeating it from the 2 streams beforehand and today. But for those that are still unclear or that are just tuning in, I'll go for it one more time. So this is how it's working at the moment. So Double Gameweek 24, we all know that. I'm not going to go into it again. Double Gameweek 25, there are 4 teams that will blank in Gameweek 29. So the 2 Carabao Cup finalists, and remember, it's Liverpool versus Spurs and Newcastle versus Arsenal. The 2 teams that reach the final and their respective opponents in Game Week 29 will blank and their fixture will be brought forward to Game Week 25. However, if Newcastle reach the Carabao Cup final, they will not double in Game Week 25. They will probably double in Game Week 33 instead. So if I skip ahead here and then go to, the permutations that you can see here. So if Liverpool reach the Carabao Cup final, Liverpool and Aston Villa will double in Game Week 25 and blank in Game Week 29. That means Liverpool face Wolves at home and Aston Villa away. Aston Villa would face Ipswich Town and Liverpool at home. And this is confirmed, by the way, in terms of if Liverpool reach the final, this is what's going to happen in Game Week 25. That's the big announcement we got on Friday, hence the kind of unique stream I did yesterday. Now, if Arsenal reach the Carabao Cup final, it would be Arsenal and Chelsea having a double game week. So Arsenal would face Leicester City away and Chelsea at home in Game Week 25, whilst Chelsea would have Brighton away and Arsenal away. The alternative is Tottenham Hotspur. If they reach the final, it would be a double of Man United at home and Fulham away, whilst Fulham have Nottingham Forest at home and also Tottenham Hotspur at home. As mentioned before with Newcastle, it's very unlikely they'll double in 25. In fact, I think it'd be a shocker from the Premier League if that was the case. They would have announced it by now, like they did with all the other clubs and their potential double in 25. So hopefully that's clear. Like I said before, I have explained this quite a few times already. And for those that aren't aware, this is how the table bonus operates in FPL. So yeah, all the graphics now should be correct with the fixtures and the points and the way it works. Everything should be completely spot on and error proof, so to speak. Ignore the stuff you see on the bottom right in terms of the rank and stuff, because that is from Game Week 23. I have triple captain, bench boost and AM left. How best to use them? Without knowing the full context of your team, I'd probably consider triple captain 25 on Salah, bench boost in either Game Week 33 or 36. And if double Game Week 33 ends up being the biggest double, I'd use the bench boost there in 33 and use the assistant manager around Game Week 35 or 36 for another double potentially in 36 there. So hopefully that is all very clear. Chris Wood was the most sold player in Game Week 24. Yeah, it's ridiculous, right? I mean, no one expected that hat-trick. Absolutely no one, I'm telling you. I thought we could maybe score a goal and get a bonus point or two, but what he did was ridiculous. FPL managers with highest 132 points this game week have Salah triple captain. Yeah, look, you're always going to get these crazy scores, even in a non-double, in a single game week. I have played him in all those benchings too. Oof. Yeah. Is that about... Rodgers might have made that even better. Only thing I say about that Havertz pen and how that game ended, justice. Look, the red card was a red card. The penalty was BS, but Odegaard missed it anyway. I don't really think of it as justice. I mean, look, I'm an Arsenal fan, so fair enough, we'll have our different opinions. But, I mean, look, Arsenal should have won the game, but the lack of a striker and that quality forward I keep talking about is going to keep costing them time after time again. That's why I really don't care at this point. In terms of this season, I'm kind of like resigned to what's going to happen. The Arsenal board have pretty much effed themselves, which is the usual stuff there, right? And agreed, I hate those soft penalties. Yeah, look, and it's not just the thing that's happening now with terrible officiating. It's been happening for 20, 30 years. It's the direction of the game, unfortunately. For the AM, I'll probably be going for table bonus, maybe Amrim or Ange. Really solid strategy. And yeah, I mean, if you use it towards the end of the season, you'll know by that stage if you want to go conservative and play it safe with Arne Slot, for example, or go for a manager like Amrim, for example, who can go for the table bonus. So yeah, that's a really good way of going about it. People saw Chris Wood, so I can only speak for my sort of perspective. I was considering it to fund the assistant manager chip, which I think is a really powerful play now. And if I did Chris Wood to Ndai, it would have meant going for David Moyes and keeping Gakpo. So I'm actually quite happy I sold Gakpo in the end. At least how things stand at the moment, let's put it that way, because he could still score a brace against Everton, and then I'm thinking a bit differently. My friend was thinking of Pereira, but we didn't listen. Damn. Yeah, Pereira got a... Oh, Vitor Pereira. I was almost thinking about Andres Pereira with the late assist against Newcastle. Yeah, he got a big return, to be fair. That's fair play. Fair play. I mean, look, Nuno was bottom of the predicted points for managers in the stream I showed you earlier, and yeah, he's the highest scoring, or second highest scoring behind Vitor Pereira. It's the two Portuguese managers who have done excellently so far. Marco Silva not too shabby, with that 2-1 win against Newcastle as well. Arsenal beat Newcastle with Kai Havertz and last-minute goal from Gabriel. Arsenal beat Newcastle on penalties. I mean, I'd love that, as long as Arsenal win the final. I don't want a final loss, but yeah, I mean, I'd love that from both an FPL perspective and, of course, my own club. What about Visser? If you got him, I still think he's a hold. I'm looking at buying him potentially in a couple of weeks' time, but the priority is double Gameweek 25, which I just covered. You reckon triple captain Salah will outscore AM Slot? No, because there's also Gameweek 25 and 26 to think about with Slot, and I'll probably sell Slot in Gameweek 26 to be fair, but 4 games in 2 gameweeks for the best team in the league if they reach the Carabao Cup final. Yeah, I'm still quite bullish on it, but both chips, you know, triple captain Salah and AM on Slot / David Moyes looks really solid. We've been calling for a striker for years now. Yeah, but Arsenal are, it's been like this for the last decade or two. It's like they're 1 or 2 pieces away from having the jigsaw complete, and they just don't do it. Evening Dylan, 85 and 9 left, including manager and doubles. Glad I stuck with Alisson and went for Moyes. If Watkins is fit, would you sell Wood or Isak for him? Look, both Isak and Chris Wood are excellent FPL choices, but I think I'd rather sell Isak. Slightly more difficult fixtures, and it's also a bit easier to kind of maneuver. You can go back to Isak from Watkins a bit easier. If you sell Chris Wood instead, it might become a bit more difficult to kind of go back and be more flexible. That's the way I look at it, so I'd recommend selling Isak, which might seem a bit crazy. Dallo Red was always a red. He's been really bad this season. I know a Man United fan who just hates Dallo. Like, every time he's just cussing him, and I don't really blame him, to be fair. It's better for you since you have 2 Chelsea players in your team. Yeah, look, I want the Arsenal Carabao Cup final regardless, but it's just very unlikely, if we're being honest. Hopefully I'm wrong. Gameweek 25, a good gameweek to activate the Assman, or do you recommend it for later? It is a good time to use it. I mean, I don't want to say it. I personally think Gameweek 24 was the best time, but you've got more opportunities later in the season if you haven't used it already. The same goes for triple captain Salah. Yeah, I think in your case, Gameweek 25 is one to consider. So if we look back to the predicted points of managers very quickly, so let's look at Gameweek 25 to 27. Let me just get this up. Gameweek 25 and 27. So you could go for Arne Slot in Gameweek 25 if Liverpool reach the Carabao Cup final. Gameweek 26, you can maybe swap to Arteta or maybe chase those table bonus potentially. That's something else you could look at. But yeah, I think Gameweek 25 to 27 is sound. But you could also say Gameweek 31 to 33 or Gameweek 35 / 36 is a really good time. It all depends on how those future doubles land, and I can't really guarantee you either way how the future doubles and blanks will exactly look like. We only have a clear picture of double Gameweek 25 and blank Gameweek 29, of course. Really hoping Ahmad blanks tomorrow, else I'm cooked because I benched him for stinky Rodgers. A bit unlucky though. You could have argued Rodgers, the goal should have stood. But look, Rodgers is a good option for next week. I'm looking at buying him in, actually. I can't believe Pickford didn't get any bonus points. He got an assist and a clean sheet. Well, it's because Everton won 4-0, but I get your point. You know, he's normally a bonus points machine for them. But yeah, with goalkeepers, it's more difficult this season for them to get BPS. You think Rashford going to start for Villa? Yeah, I think so. He might even be someone I buy in for double Gameweek 25. Football's a funny game, isn't it? So definitely one to look at, actually. He might not start from the get-go, to be fair, but I do think he becomes a starter for Aston Villa, especially if Watkins leaves, which I don't think will happen, by the way, but never say never. Fit Watkins, Visser or Cunha? It'd be Ollie Watkins for me, at least for Gameweek 25. Longer term, I think they're all excellent choices, and I think Visser would be very solid, but there's also blank Gameweek 29 to think about, and Cunha would face Southampton then, by the way, which is very enticing, to say the least. And he's got good fixtures from Gameweek 27 onwards, but it's Watkins right now for the short term. Ben says, Dylan, I sold Wood and Avelang on the bench and took a -8 for Slot. I have Sanchez and Boomer, Ahmad, Visser, Haaland left to play with 55 points. Also got Salah and Trent, not very happy with my moves. I completely get that. I would have felt the same way. There is still a way to go, and I think you'll get at least 90 points, in my opinion. But yeah, with so many high scores flying around, FPL can be very frustrating when that's the case. It's kind of like the worst week to have a sort of mediocre or low scoring point scoring when everyone else is doing relatively well. but I do hope it turns around for you. And the Arne Slot AM is still very powerful for the next couple of weeks, and I think it could pay dividends eventually, even though it doesn't look too great now. Callum Jr. says, does give me enough money to potentially do Rodgers to Bowen, Game Week 27, after the AM could be a nice differential. Yeah, and that's something else I've got to look forward to. By Game Week 27, I'll have the money back and I can spend that on my 50-man squad and really bolster my team for the future. In terms of points, Salah outscores Slot since Salah was the player who scores an assist and Slot is a manager who gets points depending on the team's performance, unless you get bottom league manager. Yeah, but once again, I'll have to go back to it. It's back-to-back doubles, in my opinion, because I think Liverpool reached the final, for the best team in the league. And then you can swap to Arteta in Game Week 26 for the second best team in the league right now. So, look, we'll see how the AM shapes up against triple captain Salah by the end of the free game week period. And let's not forget, Salah triple captain in 25 might be even better than this week. So, you know, it could look one way right now, but football and FPL can throw you curveballs. Watkins came out injured. Thoughts? Yeah, there is a long time until Double Game Week 25, thankfully, so we can talk about this in a couple of weeks' time, but I think he'll be available for that period, and I think he'll be an Aston Villa player, by the way, despite all the attackers they're looking to sign, but yeah, I'm not too worried about Ollie Watkins, actually. The same goes for Trent, although it looks like he'll miss the Carabao Cup semi-final against Tottenham Hotspur. Thank you, Paolo. Got Moyes, free Liverpool, 1 transfer. New Assman next week? I think so, because you're not going to get table bonus against Crystal Palace. Maybe he gets another victory, another 10 points, and you're kind of hoping to keep him and get those returns there. But I think you've got a high ceiling by going to Emery, if Villa double, with Liverpool reaching the final, or going for Ange Postecoglou / Marco Silva, who could both, by the way, get table bonus, especially in the case of Marco Silva. Probably less likely with Ange Postecoglou, to be fair. I meant fit Watkins, Vissa, or Cunha for the long term. Yeah, for the long term, it's difficult, right? Because I think value also needs to be taken into account. I'd probably lean towards Vissa at the moment. In my case, around Game Week 27-28, if I decide to navigate blank Game Week 29 without the free hit, I might personally go for Cunha, because I've got Mbeumo already, and Cunha would face Southampton in Game Week 29. So it all depends on that. If I decide to free hit in 29 anyway, I might just go for Vissa and double up on Brentford offensively, and then go for Cunha on the free hit. So really difficult one to answer, but I think I lean towards Vissa right now, long term. This point scoring about best AM choice before the first game week has even ended. Yeah, look, it's a reaction stream. I get why you're a bit frustrated about the questions. It's an interesting debate, but yeah, I've said this before. You can't really judge it now. You need to wait until how it transpires by the end of this game week, let alone the free game week period where the AM is active. How long will Assman stay? 3 game weeks. I activated it in game week 24, so it will last until game week 26. By the end of that, I will get my money back and I can focus on my 50-man squad. Ivan Boomer, by the way. Yeah, fair enough. It's just with Cunha, I'd rather buy him in game week 27, not for game week 25 or 26 necessarily. That's just my take on it. He is fixture-proof, to be fair, but yeah, it's a good question you're asking. I think I'll be better equipped to answer it in a few weeks' time. My current answer would be Vissa, though. But yeah, it all depends, like I said, on if you're free hitting in 29 or not. Because if you're looking to save the free hit for game week 34 instead, or a double game week, then maybe Cunha is just a very solid choice anyway. But I'd stick with Vissa right now as my answer. I'm just saying there's a lot of different factors that come into that question. Appreciate your stream on Saturday night. It's kind of a therapy session after FPL stinkers. This season has been so frustrating, man. So many 50-50 decisions went against me. It's wild. Yeah, I completely get that. It can feel like it at times. I'm happy that I actually got the rub of the green this time round, but hopefully you can get it by the end of this week, or at least for Double Game Week 25 instead. Sell Hall. If you've got a lot of value tied up in him, I'd probably recommend keeping him, but look, Hall to Kirkes looks like a very good move actually for the foreseeable future. Any idea on the type of new chip likely that you want FPL to introduce next season? All-out attack chip, which is something they used to have back in the day. The Limitless from UCL Fantasy, Euros and World Cup Fantasy as well. Cunha summer release clause is £60 million. Decent deal. I mean, from an Arsenal lens, if I'm looking at it from that perspective, I just don't see Arsenal going for him in the summer. It would only be a January signing, and it just doesn't look like it's going to happen, actually. Which teams are going to play in Game Week 29? Is the blank 29 confirmed? It all depends on the teams that reach the Carabao Cup final, like I mentioned before. So, right now, in my opinion, Liverpool and Newcastle reached the final. So from that perspective, every team will feature in Game Week 29, except in that scenario I just painted out for you, Crystal Palace, Newcastle, Liverpool and Aston Villa. They would all blank in 29, with Liverpool and Villa having a double in 25, which is confirmed, by the way, if Liverpool were to reach the final. Ben says, yeah, I got my triple captain wildcard and bench boost. Yeah, not too shabby there, mate. Not too shabby. You could look at something like bench boost 33, triple captain in 25, and wildcard. Well, actually, I'm not sure if you've used the AM. You probably have, right? Yeah, so I'd say triple captain in 36, bench boost 33, and then wildcard around gimmick 30, 32. But if double gimmick 36 is the bigger double, you might want to use the bench boost in that week instead. I went Pereira manager on FPL Challenge. Kind of cold. Wow. My prizes also came recently for finishing first in the world on the game week. Just show me what you're doing next week, yeah? And I'll pass it off as my own thing. I'm joking. That's really good, mate. Maybe you win FPL Challenge in Game Week 24 as well. Thank you, Terry, as well. Let me know what you're leaning towards as well. We can discuss that in more detail in the future. But yeah, it's a good question there between Watkins, Cunha, and Visser. I think FPL rotate mystery chip every season. You might be right, but I did say earlier I think they'll probably keep the assistant manager chip, which will be controversial, I think, especially for those that do quite poorly with the Assman. I'm not sure, Easy99. I think it will stay. Beardy says, got 91 points with still players to play. Finally a green arrow. Yeah, it's a bit of a relief. Especially like myself, I've done fairly poorly recently. 78 points, including Moyes AM, plus 5 Everton and Liverpool players, and Son left. Nice. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Son in FPL right now, but if he can get one of those big returns, which he's certainly capable of, you could be looking at something huge. Maybe it's Jose Mourinho's chip for next season and double points for clean sheets. Not a bad idea. I have Kirkes. I wait for other options. Knights 0523 here in Singapore. Wow. Yeah, 523, mate. It's 9:30. I haven't had dinner yet. I'm going to be doing so very soon. And yeah, I'll definitely be sleeping by 5 a.m., I hope. But I appreciate you staying up. Your initial thoughts on free at 29 or free at 33, 34? So Game Week 33 should be a double game week. I think Ben Krellin said between 1 to 4 teams should double by that stage. Newcastle and Crystal Palace could be 2 of them, by the way. Game Week 34 should be a blank game week. So because, if we have that scenario where double game week 33 and blank game week 34 is a thing, that could be very awkward to navigate, and that's where I would lean towards free hit in 34. But I can't really tell you for sure without knowing the full context of when the doubles land and how the blank in 34 looks like. But that would be my current preference. I bench Nico Williams FML. Who would have thought that he would have had such a massive return, to be fair? Yes, I do have a challenge league. There is a link in the description below to Stapaki for that in all of my FPL videos, so check it out and you can see it. In fact, if I go to the FPL challenge section one more time, you can also see the league code on the left-hand side. So the OG league means the FPL one, which you're probably already in. The league code for FPL Challenge is 5T7KKU. Hey Dylan, when's a good time to play my triple captain? Regretting not playing it this week. If you haven't used the AM chip in Game Week 24, I think 25 is very solid on Salah. If Liverpool double, of course. If they don't, I'd maybe be less keen on it, but even Palmer against Brighton and Arsenal way, potentially. It all depends on which teams reach the final, of course, but I think Game Week 25 looks pretty solid, especially with Salah. Game Week 28 as a single game week against Southampton at home. If not, you've got future double game weeks in 33 and or 36. When are Salah's potential double game weeks? Either Game Week 33 or 36, and also in Game Week 25, as I just mentioned, yeah. Are Villa players worth it for next week? Rodgers and Watkins, yes. Maybe Rashford, if he signs in time. Well, he should sign in time. Obviously, the deadline for January is on the 3rd of February on Monday. But, yeah, will he start games by Game Week 25? Potentially. I wouldn't be looking at defenders or Emi Martinez. What are your predictions for tomorrow's games? We'll go to my original ones from a few days ago. So I did go for Brentford 1, Tottenham... Sorry. Can't read. Brentford 3, Tottenham 1, Man United 1, Crystal Palace 1, Arsenal 2, Man City 1, Chelsea 3, West Ham 1, and then Everton won, Liverpool won. Of course, the last 2 games are played later. So Chelsea West Ham is on Monday, and in 11 days' time we've got Everton versus Liverpool. But yeah, those are my predictions for the week. Look how wrong I got some of them. 1-1 Forest Brighton, really? Yeah, I got that completely off the rails there. Let's see. Let's answer a few more questions, then wrap up. Of course, I did provide updates on Watkins and Trent, mainly for the latter, of course, with Arne Slot giving a direct quote there. Let's see if I can actually give an exact Watkins quote as well. That would be quite handy. Hopefully Unai Emery has said something there. Anything? Yeah, so Unai Emery said the following. I don't have an exact quote. This is kind of paraphrasing by a journalist, John Towley. So Unai Emery confirmed Watkins suffered a muscle injury in the first half of Aston Villa's defeat at Wolves, but he's hopeful it's nothing important. So there you go. Like I said, I think both Watkins and Trent will be available for game week 25. And also, in the case of Trent, the other game of double game week 24. So let's go back to my FPL team once again. Finally, a decent week for me. Should be a green arrow, but never say never. I went for Son early last week, by the way, with game week 25 in mind, before the announcement happened. I mean, look, if Spurs end up doubling, it could end up being a really good play. I'm just not a big fan of him this season. Are you going to do a chip strategy video? Well, the thing is, yesterday in the Assistant Manager live stream, I did a slide, and I did show the slides today as well, and in the deadline stream earlier today, where it covers all the information on blanks and doubles as things stand, all the potential doubles in 25 and yada yada yada, best time to use each chip. So I'd recommend watching that Assistant Manager live stream from yesterday, and I also discussed that in more detail in the live stream earlier today. So that's already been covered, mate. I like FPL to introduce double triple captain. For example, if you get 30, then you'll get times 2, it will be 60 points. I mean, that'd be way overpowered, you could say, especially on Salah. Callum Jr. says Gordon to Kluivert, Moyes to Emery, and Isak to Watkins is the plan if Liverpool win. Watching the Bournemouth game, it does seem like Kluivert is the more attacking asset. He's also on penalties, and he's got some big returns recently. He should have scored that, to be fair, but from an FPL perspective, I'm quite happy with the Trent clean sheet and Arne Slot clean sheet points. Gordon to Kluivert and Bruno to Mbeumo, thoughts? I like the look of both of them, but I have to say the priority should be double game week 25. So you're looking at either Aston Villa, Spurs, Fulham, Chelsea, Arsenal assets in that position, particularly I'd say with Aston Villa with Rodgers, but it all depends on who reaches the final, as I mentioned a few times. What to do if Trent is injured? Potentially sell him in game week 25. Well, it makes a lot of sense, especially with the fixtures afterwards, the blanking game week 29 most likely, and you can also free up so much funds by selling him in 25, but that's only if he's injured. It looks like, in my opinion, he'll be available for Everton, and for game week 25, I'd be surprised if he didn't make it. David says, yep, also not used the AM chip. I've actually not used any chip this season. Got 0.5 million in the bank. Do I just go with Moyes or downgrade an asset to get Arne Slot? I wouldn't go for David Moyes now. I think the best time to buy him was game week 24. You might have another chance later in the season with Everton doubling again, but I would not be using the AM on Moyes in 25. No chance. No table bonus against Palace. And you've got other teams doubling. Arne Slot could be one of those managers, of course. Your AM points already show up in your game week points, mate. It's already accounted for. I'm not sure why people are saying that. My points have been added already. So as livefpl.net have said, 89 points for me. Yeah, I'm not sure why people are saying that. Maybe refresh your page if you haven't done so already. The bonus points have been added, so it should be factored in. I've already got Concert and Rodgers. What would be the third asset, assuming they double? Watkins. I think he'll be available. I'm not a big fan of Villa defenders, but you've got the best one in Concert. He's the most nailed. Yeah, Watkins or nothing for me. Maybe Rashford could be one to look at, but that's really the only ones I'd be entertaining. I benched Kluivert for Rodgers, so was super glad he missed. Yeah, I mean, with Semenyo as well hitting the crossbar. From an FPL point of view, I was quite happy he didn't burn me again. I sold Alisson, but I switched to Pickford, so not too shabby, I reckon. Yeah, I prefer Pickford in general, and Alisson's quite injury-prone for a goalkeeper. I didn't expect Alisson to do that well today, so fair play to those that own him. Live FPL says 78, but FPL says 68. I'm not sure why that's the case, mate. If you haven't updated the app, like I said before, that's probably the main reason why. If you're on the website, refresh it. Otherwise, I don't know what to tell you. For me personally, it has updated, and my AM chip is counting. Do you actually see the manager in the bottom? So Arne Slot or David Moyes, let me know. If you don't, that maybe means you went for it. So you activated, or no, you didn't activate. You clicked the button for AM. You picked the manager, but you didn't confirm it, and then it hasn't gone through. That's happened to a few people today. Are there more blank game weeks after blank game week 29? Yeah, Easy99, watch the slides that I mentioned earlier and in the last two streams. It's all covered there. Game week 34 should be a blank because of the clashes with the FA Cup semi-finals, and those blanks could be brought forward to double game week 33, or if not, double game week 36. But it's all covered there, so I'd highly encourage you to check it out. Dylan, I'm devastated. I forgot to activate my triple captainship on Salah this week. Have no idea when the next best time to use it is. Well, game week 25, Liverpool could double again if they reach the Carabao Cup final. So that could be another great time to use it. Game week 28 on Salah against Southampton at home. Otherwise, there are more doubles later in the season. But yeah, I think game week 24-25 looks like the best time to use it if you aren't using the AM booster. Triple captain Salah is more than the week's average. Crazy. Yeah, it's a ridiculous score, isn't it? But remember, triple captain as compared to normal captains of Salah, you're only gaining the 16 points so far. My Forest defender is on the bench. I wish I started him over Gabriel. Yeah, I get that. I mean, it's just Gabriel has the attacking threat, and I would have recommended Gabriel in a lot of scenarios. Yeah, it's a shame. So does the AM chip last multiple weeks? It lasts 3 weeks, Soldier Boy. Like I just mentioned to Easy99, rewatch or just rewind the stream. There is a segment, and in the previous two streams I've also done, I go through slides and everything is covered in terms of assistant manager, chips, which includes the bench boost and stuff, doubles and blanks. Check it out because it covers everything you need to know. Yeah, Watkins I just covered, mate, and I said what Emery mentioned in the press conference, so that's all covered. Hi Dylan, I did what you did, took out Wood for Ndai and did Moyes. I didn't take out Chris Wood for a -4. I've still got him, mate. I took out Gakpo instead. But I was considering selling Chris Wood for Ndai. I don't know about the FPL website, but in the app, the Assman points haven't been added yet. Update the app. That's why. Well, maybe, to be fair, I haven't checked the app. Maybe in the app they haven't updated it, but that would be the main reason. Yeah, I updated the app to the latest version, and it does say 79 points. They have been added, trust me. If you go to the website, maybe go to your browser, for example, on your phone, you will see that they have been added, so don't worry, you're not being robbed. Thank you, Soldier Boy. To conclude the stream, because I know some people haven't seen the last few streams and stuff, I'm going to go through it one more time, hopefully for the last, but yeah, just watch this video as I'm talking. If you've got any questions about it, let me know. I will be wrapping up fairly soon, though. Anyone else now having second thoughts on, on selling Wood for Watkins? I'm sure a lot of people are, for several reasons. The hat-trick for Chris Wood, the injury to Watkins, I don't think it's serious, though. Emery said he's hopeful that it's not too bad. My AM chips haven't been added. Yeah, that's been covered already, mate. Should be fine. Ollie holding his groin, but was running around after, then half-time subbed. Yeah, I don't think it's serious. I think he'll be available for Game Week 25. Harry says, oh, cheers, mate. I was worried for a second. I went on configuring leagues and it was there. Yeah, I think it's an app problem because, like I said, I updated it to the latest version and it's showing 79 points, not 89. So don't worry about that. It's all factored in on the website, which is the most important thing. I did bench Gabriel for Aina last minute. Glad, but Arsenal still to play. Yeah, I mean, if Gabriel scores a bullet header, keeps a clean sheet, you might be laughing in the end, but yeah, it's a bit gutting, I think, to bench that. Aston Villa. Nottingham Forest defender. What are your plans with Ndai? Happy to bench him in Game Week 25. The priority would be getting an Aston Villa attacker if they double. Ultimately, I can't really say exactly what I'm going to do because there are so many variables. Is it Spurs who are going to double alongside Fulham in 25, or is it going to be Liverpool? Maybe Arsenal reach the final, and in that case, I've got Arsenal and Chelsea players to go to. Maybe I'll go back to Nicholas Jackson again. Is it worth swapping Timber out for Gabriel before wildcard later in the season? Yeah, if you've got that sort of luxury transfer that you're able to make for free, I'd go for it, but the priority should be double Game Week 25 assets, Arsenal might not double in the end. Thank you, Prince of Quince. Great name. You're a legend, Dylan. Got on the channel from the Euros. Been a fan since. That's great to hear. I did cover the World Cup a few years ago too, and those tournaments are always a lot of fun. Hopefully FPL can be for the rest of the season as well. I removed Gakpo too for Vissa. I think I should have gone for Ndai instead. I mean, Better was the one who stole the show for Everton, but I get your point. I only went for Ndai to free up that slot for Arne Slot and also to get the money available for an AM chip, which I'm very bullish on from Gameweek 24. Thank you, Soldier Boy. As he says, like the video. It'd be very much appreciated, and it costs nothing. It boosts us up in the algorithm, and there's a lot of information in this stream as well as my recent ones, so you know everything you need to for Double Gameweek 24 and beyond. You are right, the AM chip points are showing on the website, which is most important. Yeah, look, because fair enough, I was kind of very bullish saying, oh, just update the app, it should be fine. But yeah, they have some issues, it seems, with the phone apps and stuff like that. How are you not tired of talking for over 2 hours? I just chat crap, mate. That's really it. I'm just used to it by now. My parents say so anyway, and some of my friends. Hope Haaland scores tomorrow since he's in my team. No. Sorry, mate, no. I can't have that happening. Dylan should be worried by Newcastle's form. Well, yes, and against Southampton, they obviously went behind. Individual quality bailed them out. Alexander Isak on fire. He was very close to scoring today. I still think he's worth holding on to, but I think Gordon, for example, his hot streak has definitely ended. I'd be looking to sell him to Rodgers, actually. That is my current plan if Villa double next week. Is Wood now a must-buy no matter the fixtures, perhaps even for a hit? I get what you're saying. Voice crack. I'm not crying, I promise. I wouldn't be looking to buy Chris Wood now. As I mentioned on Monday in the Transfers podcast, I think he's a hold more so than a buy. But for Gameweek 29, if you want to navigate that without the free hit, I think Chris Wood is a long-term investment. It's absolutely fine. It's just the priority should be double Gameweek 25 in my opinion. Besides doublers, I have Vissa, Ahmad, Gabriel left to play. Let's see how it goes. Good players though, and I think Brentford could still score a lot of goals against Tottenham tomorrow. So Vissa and Mbeumo could look really good, and I hope that's the case, and we can get some points in the process. Have we heard from Slot on Trent? Yes, and I did cover that earlier a few times. Basically, he said that Trent asked to be subbed, and he went down on the ground, and it's rare for a player to ask to be substituted. And he also said that it's not a fact, but Trent is unlikely to play on Thursday. That's what he said, by the way, his words. It's not a fact, but his opinion is he won't feature in the Carabao Cup semi-finals. I don't think I'll go back to double Arsenal defence. If they double in 25, though, maybe you're talking to a hypocrite and I end up doing it. But I think Gabriel is enough for me. Yes, I got 89 points, Stryhill. I've got 89 points. Basically, the reason why you see 71 is because in those graphics, those are made from Gameweek 23. So don't worry about that. I mentioned that earlier. You can see right now on screen, if you add them up, I've got 89 points, 85 of the -4 hit taken into account. And yeah, it's all accounted for. Mikolenko, Tarkovsky, and Dye and Slot carry me to 92 points and 5.2k rank. Nicely done. Newcastle gradually losing their defensive form, might consider downgrading Horterhausen to be able to get to Kluivert. Yeah, I think Lewis Horterhausen or Kirkes looks really solid. Long term, I think that's a great move. Yeah, Tremor's all over the place defensively. Will Slot still have faith in him? Yeah, I think so. And he got injured today. Maybe that played a part. It affected him in the first half potentially. If Trent's available and we see him play against Everton, I'd be very happy to keep him for Gameweek 25. Then he could be sellable afterwards. Elanga's looking real good at the moment. Yeah. Hat-trick of assists against a decent side in Brighton, albeit they were completely off it today tactically and defensively they were there for the taking, but Elanga's having a great season. Red Arrow this week so far with 69 points and 7 to go. Good number of players left. Hopefully that turns into a green for you, but there's always double game at 25 as well, which is a certainty. It's just a matter of which teams will double in the end. If you get 100 points, is this your first time you get 100 points in FPL history? No, I've gotten it on multiple occasions, no flex, I promise. It would be the first time this season, though, if I'm not mistaken. I think it would be. Red Arrow this week, yes, sir, I covered. So glad I kept Concert and Rodgers for these times. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Concert personally, but of course, if you got him, I wouldn't be looking to sell. I think Aston Villa will double next week, to be fair. And Rodgers is a solid option. He always has been. So yeah, that is pretty much it. We've covered everything you need to know. So yeah, we'll go through these last few questions, then that's it. So if you have any more that you want to talk through, leave them in the comment section, join the Discord server, or chat to me on X, Instagram, or Blue Sky. So Broadster says, slot points haven't been put on yet. They have been. The app is the problem, but on the website, they have been factored in. Don't worry about it. Chill. They're not robbing you. You have activated the chip. If you see Slot or David Moyes in your team, and it's been confirmed, you have nothing to worry about. Yeah, Newcastle have horrible fixtures from a defensive perspective as well, not risking it. Yeah, I'm looking to sell one of Gordon or Isak, most likely Gordon. Maybe I take a hit for both out for Watkins and Rodgers if they double next week. I think Kluivert is the best Bournemouth mid. Yeah, Broadster, have a great night too. And like I said, there's nothing to worry about. I get why you're maybe concerned. A lot of people have also been asking me about it, but yeah, it's all good. And Brown says, keep it up, Dylan. Cheers, mate. Best of luck for tomorrow. Likewise, enjoy the football, and hopefully more green arrows are on the way. I think my best score ever is 120s. Might beat that this week. Assman inflating it a bit, though. Yeah, and you can always compare it and see, would you have beaten it without the assistant manager? Thoughts on Cash and Robinson? Robinson, if he doubles, is great, and I think he's a hold for those that have him, but yeah, Cash, I'm just not really a big fan of any Villa defender. If you got him, great, you keep him. If he doubles, even better, but I'm not too keen. Thank you, NH1999. Gracias, chico. Thanks again for the rapid-fire answers, Dylan. I appreciate it, and it's my pleasure, Magic69. Espanyol 1, Real Madrid 0. Nice. Cash is out for a few weeks. Yes, I think you're right. Like I said before, Konsa is the only Aston Villa defender that I think is probably worthwhile. With Lukatin and Maatsen, you could see rotation on the left-hand side. And ultimately, it's Rodgers and Watkins for me if they double in Game Week 25. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. It has been a pleasure. If you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe for new. There have been a lot of live streams in the last couple of days. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a single upload or future stream for use your fantasy/FPL. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM. Blue Sky is FPL Dylan, and there's my Discord server, FPL League, FPL Challenge League, Draft Hound, Spotify, as well as my Patreon, which is patreon.com/DylanRCM if you want early access to my videos, amongst many other perks. And I did give 10 memberships earlier today in the deadline stream. Thank you to those that have signed up as well and sent in super chats. You're all massively appreciated. And it has been a blast talking to you again. And this stream has gone really quickly. And yeah, it's time to take a bit of a break for the next couple of days because there is a big turnaround or a long turnaround until the next deadline. How do we see the points earned breakage of double Gameweek players this week? I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Maybe I'm being stupid or maybe my brain's being fried, but we can talk about this in the comment section later. Or if not, you can just hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, or the Discord server. But earn breakage of double Gameweek. Yeah, sorry, I didn't understand it. How about Emi Martinez for the double? The same thing goes for him, mate. I mean, do I prefer Martinez over other Villa defenders except Konsa? Perhaps, but I wouldn't be buying him in necessarily. No, I don't think it's worth it. Thoughts of this season's Premier League? Yeah, it's very unpredictable. I don't think Liverpool have any competition. They've been brilliant on all fronts. They deserve to win the league if they go on and don't fumble it. But yeah, I think the league tower is a bit of a non-entity. There's no real race, especially with Arsenal just not doing what they had to in the summer and also in January. But it's good to see Bournemouth and Forest at least. We've got a few positives from this season and some big names are struggling in the table. Gracias Atolo, is that accurate? Atolo, I'm not sure what that means. If you're trying to say Cholo or something like that, like Cholo Simeone, maybe I'm being stupid. Do you think Trent will be available? Yes, that's been covered. I think he's available for Everton. Later's going to get dinner before the missus kills me. Yeah, the same goes for me, man. I'm going to be killed by my family or friends or someone for just living in these streams. Good timing. Yeah, I plan it just for your dinner, mate. Don't worry. Best time for wildcard is team dependent. Check the slides that I mentioned earlier, but Game Week 30 to 32 looks pretty good. Eddie Cassie, put your comment in the comment section, and I can go through it there because, like I said, I am wrapping up, and otherwise I'll be going on forever with more questions being asked. Thank you to Stepaki. As he says, like as you go, people. It costs nothing. Thank you to those that have done so already and subscribe to the channel. Enjoy the rest of the football. Hopefully we get even more points, green arrows, and also great passages of play in the next couple of days and weeks. Take care, and I'll see you more. I'll see you very soon for more FPL and use your fantasy content. I wish you all the best.